But the next one...
Tonight's show and topic of discussion do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Spaced Out Radio, SOR Media, or its hosts. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. Welcome to Spaced Out Saturdays on Spaced Out Radio. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at TessaTNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for our archives. Now broadcasting from our Mile High Radio Clubhouse on Spaced Out Saturdays with your host, Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Good evening, Spaced Out Radio. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas. On a Rocky Mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 419.9 in colorful Colorado. It is Saturday, May 11th for those of you on the West Coast with us, and May 12th for those of you on the East Coast and beyond, and this is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you guys had a rockin' week, an awesome day, and an even better evening. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and I am live tonight broadcasting from beautiful Bayfield, Colorado. So we are 150,000 strong nightly on Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Deep Talk Radio, 99.1 FM, WQEE, Noonan, Georgia, 107.7 FM, UPRN in New Orleans, Louisiana, as well as Revolution Radio. Don't forget to head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where you can peruse the Spaced Out Radio store and read the Encounter Online, dealing with everything strange, paranormal, and odd. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know Mr. Funkmaster V, a.k.a. Vinnie Vineyard. Funkmaster V wears many hats: pro wrestler, comedian, bass slapper, Libertarian candidate for governor, radio host, actor, business owner, ghost hunter, bounty hunter, just to name a few. But his next adventure, launching and streaming a paranormal TV network, ASY Paranormal, may be his most ambitious project yet. He and fellow wrestlers, Big Luke and Travis Graves, started their own ghost investigation TV shows years ago, and it has turned into a television project where they seek to help save the genre and reality TV itself by giving a voice to independent showmakers worldwide. Hey, Vinny, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you.
Toot, toot, baby. It's time to ride the funk train, dear, and thank you for having me. It's a heck of an opportunity, and I appreciate you.
Woo woo. Yeah, it's awesome having you on, and like I said, I've been watching you guys for a while, wrestling with ghosts and such, and wanted to reach out to you, but you were so busy and doing an amazing job running for governor. I was just like, I just gotta let him work his magic, and it'll come to be when it shall be.
Well, it wasn't that amazing. I didn't win, but it was an experience, and looking back on it now, it was. I'll tell you, running for office is it'll wear you out. And if you look at like what happened with George W. Bush or Obama or anybody, they age, when they're in office. And I can imagine even running as a libertarian, which is basically in Tennessee, it's an independent essentially, but it'll put some lines in your face and make your hair gray. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you were saying Obama, like I remember when he first came in, he looked so young, and then all of a sudden it was like an old white spider convention on his head. It's like, what's going on here? This guy's aged like 20 years already.
Yeah, it was when he first got in, there was a couple accidental quote unquote photos leaked of him with his shirt off and stuff playing basketball. And at the end of the 8 years, there's none of that left. No, there's none of that. No more Obama with his shirt off. But yeah, it was a trip, man. I put at one point, I think I did 35 appearances in 60 days, and it was all self-funded and stuff. So that was I took a little financial hit or whatever, and that's kind of what you do. But and then I did have people supporting me, but it didn't cover quite the cost to spread the message of funk and love and liberty out there. But that was an interesting clip. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're on here now and we're talking about it's a new year and we're talking about new things. So it's good to be here.
Well, it's cool to get different things under your collar and learn different things, not only about yourself but the world around you. And it was really awesome that you did go libertarian in the world that we're in today. And they might not have liked it this time, but they might like it next time if you do decide to go back that route. But it could be like one of those things where you kind of dip your toes in there and you're like, I'm okay with that stream. I think I'll go over to this other one I like better.
Well, it's difficult when you're trying to, in this country, when you're trying to get people to understand there's more than two ways to think. There's thousands of ways to think. And we've got this, we've been indoctrinated into this us versus them. It's almost like the New England Patriots versus the New York Jets, or the Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills, or the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Boston Celtics, or Miami Wolverines versus Ohio State, or something. Politics in the real world's not like that, but they get you thinking to where you want the other team to lose. And in a real world, the way it should be is we should want everybody to succeed. And we've gotten to a situation to where we almost want half the population to fail so we can kind of laugh in their face and win like it's a game. And it's just, I don't know. It's demoralizing, really. And so that's one of the main reasons I ran, was just to kind of give somebody an option. Because I did have a little stroke with my, with being a pro wrestler and owning a business here, and people who've watched the TV show and stuff, and so it gave me a little leg up, and I got some good media attention out of it, but not nearly enough to topple the juggernauts, the Democrats, or the Republicans. But what are you gonna do? What
you gotta do? You gotta keep swimming.
That's right.
But yeah, thanks so much for, giving us that other, outlook on life. But you had mentioned you also have done pro wrestling. How'd you get started in that? We've got a lot of wrestling fans in the chat room. How do you get started pro wrestling, and how'd you like it?
I started wrestling, I think it was 32 or 33 years ago. It was after a long stint as a musician, and I kind of was a bad guy wrestler in my band as we toured around the Southeast. We were a band called, we were first signed and shelved. And when we got signed and everything, it's kind of when Napster happened. And there was just no more live. There was just not, rock and roll kind of died. Funk music kind of died. Rap bands, girl R&B bands. It was just, if you were in a big band, there was just no money. Nobody was buying albums anymore. Everybody was stealing music, and so there was no money. So it was hard to make a living with an album or whatever. So when you're signed and shelved, you can't use the name because they want to save you until they think there's a spot. But normally when that happens, when a label signs and shelves you, that's pretty much the end of your band. So we decided we couldn't go by the band name, so we went by a band name called Pimpin' Ain't Easy. And we were basically 3 and sometimes 4 white dudes that would go do hip-hop and funk music around the Southeast and the Midwest. And it was, we were really in your face. We were, I don't know, we were probably, with all the snowflakes in the world today, we probably couldn't get away with doing that. There'd be too many people complaining. But lead singer would walk out on the tables, knocking your drinks over, hitting on your girlfriend with the microphone in his hand. I mean, it was a wild show. But in that genre, I was a bad guy, because we would do a song like Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg, and the crowd would like it or whatever. And then I'd just kind of lean into the mic and look over and be like, I don't know if we should play that song. It sounds like it glorifies drugs, and the lead singer would be like, shut up. And the whole crowd would be like, boo. Or we'd play a song about, I don't know, some song about a woman or whatever. And I'd be like, I think that song objectifies women, and the lead singer would be like, get out of here, you moron. Nobody wants to hear what you think. So there was kind of a good guy, bad guy thing in that too, So I don't drink, which is weird. And if you're a musician, and I, try my damnedest not to cheat on my wife. So when the playing music on the road really just becomes about the money, because it's not really about playing music anymore. And after years and years and over 1,000 shows, I just started getting bored. I'm a New York Jets fan, and Joe Namath one time once said, when you catch yourself yawning on the football field, it's time to retire. And there was a weekend where we played Cookeville, Tennessee, in front of about 500 people, and in Nashville it was about 1,200 people, and just a lot of people. And I was yawning the whole show. I couldn't stop, and I was like, man, I'm bored up here. There's people that would love this, and it was my time to quit. So to answer your question, I just got sick of playing music for so many years. It was like telling the same joke over and over again. It was a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. And I wish there was an opportunity to maybe play once or twice a year. It would be fun, but the grind and just how hard it was, and 4 hours without a set break, and you're doing more stay in the time dance moves and comedy bits and the music, and just under the hot lights, and you're setting up and setting down and driving hours, just got old. So I still wanted to entertain people, because I did comedy, and I was in radio, and I did music, and it just kind of was this thing where I was like, I'd love to be a pro wrestler. And I'm at the age now where at 33 back then, that I had to take my shot. I was like, this is the time to do it. And when I was a kid, and when I was in high school, and when I was a young adult, I did judo, and I was really good. And judo is basically just Japanese wrestling. I won the state championship in that. So pro wrestling came natural, and it was a way for me to do comedy. It was a way for me to interact with people on a nightly basis. It was a way to, stay in shape, motivate yourself to lift weights, because you get around, you're married and have kids and stuff, you get a point where you're like, I'm just going to get as fat as possible and just not care anymore. But, when you're a wrestler, you don't want to do that necessarily. So it was a way there was a lot of benefits to it too, besides 100% injury rate. But, I got into it. I knew some guys who, actually I went to high school with a guy who was, what's weird is when I went to high school with this kid, he was real mousy, real cute guy, just like, he looked like almost like a little cartoon animal, like big eyes and smiled, and he just looked like he should be on the Muppets or something like that. I don't know. But when he got older, he got big, hairy, muscular, kind of chubby, losing his hair. Then he was just kind of like, ugh, I don't want to look at that guy. And he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I talked to him and said, hey man, can you get me in this wrestling and stuff? And he was like, yeah, we're trying to start a promotion. And there was a lot of stuff with music and everything that I did that I was like, oh, I can help you with that. I know guys that can make banners. I have a PA system you can use. I know how to make a website, because I made tons of websites. I know how to do videos, because I made videos for the band and stuff. And they're like, shoot, yeah. So basically, for helping him start this promotion with a couple other folks, he trained me in the backyard and threw me around on the rocks and the grass. And it's kind of funny. I haven't thought about this in years, but I used to have a friend who was, do you know what LARPing is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's like the medieval, you dress up and you hit everybody with foam swords or whatever and reenact the Battle of Winterfell or whatever. Well, I had a friend of mine who was a LARPer, or I don't know what he called it, but it was basically LARPing. It was something like that. I can't. If he heard me call it LARPing, he'd be mad. It's a different thing, but it's the same thing. I don't know what the differences are, but so he would let me. He would come over to my house, and I would do wrestling techniques with him, and he wasn't a wrestler. And he would let me try things out on him if I would, in turn, for the same amount of time, let him kick the crap out of me and beat the holy fudge out of me with a sword for the same amount of time. So I'm sitting there with a giant spear and a sword, a shield or whatever, and this guy's got a sword, and he's just lighting me up left and right. And I'm just like, good grief. I'm glad that they don't have, like, sword fighting anymore. I don't know. It's just, if you're not any good at it, you just toast. And so
you'd be like that guy on oh man, no, I can't think. Okay, so Knights of the Holy Grail, and
the Black Knight.
Yeah, and this guy keeps getting his, like, arms and legs cut off, and in the very end he's like, "Come back here, I'll bite your leg off." But I mean, like, freshman.
Well, what's funny is one of the investigations, just jumping into the future here, there was one of the investigations that we did, and if you join ASY Paranormal, there's a show called Wrestling with Ghosts, which I'm a part of. One of our episodes, it's a bonus. We didn't release it when we first released it, but it's kind of like we let people to the DVD who bought the DVD look at it and all that stuff. But we go to this guy's house, and it's a funny story, and I'll abbreviate it. But there's a furry that we knew, but he was a furry without a fursuit, which is, I didn't even know that was a thing. But it was like, that's like being a race car driver without a car. I'm not sure how that works, but he was a furry without a fursuit. The weird thing is, he kind of lives at home, and he's kind of weird, and I don't know if he's on the spectrum or not. And he's just a strange guy, just a really strange guy. But he's also lovable, and he's also, you want to punch him in the face a lot. He's just an interesting cat. And we did an investigation at his place called the House of Gore in Virginia. But the thing is, the guy is so weird, and you're like, how does this guy get out of bed? But he's like so talented in so many ways. He's a juggler. He's a magician. He can ride horses. He's a good at shooting. He's a pool shooter. He's a musician. He comes up, he does and he's very eclectic. Like, he does all these, he's a longboarder, he's a hula hooper, but he also does like old Charlie Chaplin routines and stuff. And I guess a lot of it, he's a lonely guy, so you have a lot of time. You don't have a wife and kids. I guess you could be the master of all these weird things. But the reason I'm bringing this up now is that I got into a sword fight with this guy. And this is like 15 years after me trying to learn how to pro wrestle with the LARPer. But, and so this guy, he's got a sword, and I've got, again, a spear and a shield, which if I'm ever in a medieval fight, I guess I need to pick some other thing, because I don't do too well with these things. So, he is just kicking my butt. He's actually, I'm wrong. He had a bow staff, and I had a sword and a shield. But anyway, he was still killing me. And everybody's kind of like, man, Mitch is kind of kicking Funkmaster's ass here. And so at that point, I was like, I can't beat this weird guy, this furry without a fursuit, with any weapons. But I am a good grappler. So I was able, I kind of did like a side-armed pitch of the sword along the ground towards this guy. Like skimming the sword on the ground, and he had to bend down to stop it, or it was going to kind of hurt his foot. So then I ran over there and put him in a German suplex, and then pinned him. But basically, with the weapons, no, I'm no good at all with that. But that's kind of how my origin was just, a couple of tumbles or whatever in the backyard, and learning some of the secrets of the sport. And it's strange. Being a pro wrestler is a very interesting caveat, because a lot of people think it's, a lot of people look at wrestling fans as boneheaded or whatever, or this is like a lower form of entertainment, but really it's the first sport. It's the continuation of the first human sport, and of course it's more flamboyant than it used to be and everything. But it's there's something primal about it, and you should go if there's a local wrestling ring. You may not even like wrestling, but if you got a lot of tension, you got a lot of anxiety and stuff, you get a couple of friends, you go down to your local wrestling show. Man, get in these places. It's only like $5, and just let your hair down and scream at the bad guys and cheer the good guys, and just even ironically have fun. It's like my wife and I, we go to football games, and she just the entire time screams nonsense. It doesn't even. She's not saying stuff like "you suck" or "go Jets." She's like, "Muck luck, tell me." And like she's just like, like, what are you talking? She's like, I'm just letting my stress out. You can do that with pro wrestling too. It's fun if you can kind of get, past everything. It's a lot of fun. But and being in that sport, you become a master of artifice. You become a brother of the arcane. You know things that the public doesn't know. And what cracks me up about wrestling is people ask, is it fake all the time? And it always makes me laugh because everybody acts like it is, but everybody still doesn't know what really is going on. And I'll be honest, I mean, there's been times in the wrestling ring that's the most real thing I've ever done. I mean, it's hard to explain, but if you compare it to what we do, not to get weird on a deep, weird tangent or anything, but what do? We wake up and we go out and we make green pieces of paper and we act like these pieces of paper mean something. You know what I mean? These are just pieces of cloth. And yet we spend time away from our loved ones. We put up with stuff and we do things we don't want to do because we got to make a certain stack of green pieces of cloth. And we act like this is something, that money means something. And so really, the world is kind of bullcrap in a lot of ways. And there's been a lot of times in a wrestling ring where I've never been closer to reality or death as much as I've been in a wrestling ring. So it's a hard thing to answer.
Well, it's kind of like, the man keeping you down. Like you said, you got to work your life away just to make these little cloth green papers to pay your way to be even broker. And
right.
It's spending your time doing things you enjoy and bringing joy into your life, basically. I mean, that's the way you should spend it, and don't let the man keep you down. Well, and that's what they're doing.
But also, too, this is the only sport where the crowd can influence the match, too. Like, if you go to a Bulls game and tell Michael Jordan to decapitate Bill Lambier, he's not going to listen to you. Right. But in pro wrestling, it'd be like, oh, you want me to take his head off? All right. I mean, you can influence that in a way. And also, too, people don't realize this, but there's people. Let me ask you this. I don't know what you do as another job, but do you like everybody you work with? That's a rhetorical question. You might. I don't know, but.
Well, I basically work by myself because I work overnight security. So yeah, I like my coworker a lot.
You like this, but you can imagine if you work in a call center, let's say, and there's 500 people, you're not going to like everybody. So in wrestling, you're in a match. You may not like the person you're with. So who's to say what's real and what's not, if that makes sense? So if you have an opportunity to punch somebody, Susie, over in direct marketing or whatever, or customer service, and you think she's the hoe from hell, you might punch her as hard as you can. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, when I was bartending at the Skyute Lodge and Casino, there was this girl who was going to school. it was a job that, when you have this job, you should actually be in an office in the very back of a building and not dealing publicly with people, because she would offend and assault people all the time, and I'm just like,
assault people.
Well, verbally or with her attitude,
okay.
Offend. She was very offensive. She had a personality of a dirty sock, I used to say. But yeah,
That's very descriptive. That's very descriptive.
She should have been in an office in the back of a building doing that job and away from everybody else.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes you get along with your coworkers, sometimes you don't. Sometimes, like you said, you feel better if you punch them in the face. But, it takes all kinds to make the world go round.
Hey, have you seen this new Snapchat thing where it makes you, you put the filter on, it makes you look like the opposite sex?
No, but I should try that.
Dude, I'm hot. I'm just telling you. I don't know. I would, I'd say all sorts of nice things to me. But anyway. So anyway, back in the pro wrestling thing. I mean, that's, it's been a joy, but also pro wrestling is a young man's game. There's 100% injury rate, and if you horse around long enough, you're going to hurt yourself pretty bad. So that's wrestling led to this opportunity I have in the paranormal, and which was a weird, clunky way. Me and my tag team partner, Big Luke, were making a wrestling television show for Fox, and it was a terrible show. And we were kind of brought in to basically give CPR to a dying cow anyway. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about television networks. I learned a lot about how, anything from editing, camera work, dealing with human beings, trying to get people to do what you want them to do for the common good, and sales and advertisements and time, and making the people mad who run the thing, the powers that be, and making them grumpy about things. You learned a lot. And so we did this for several months, almost a full year, and we got fired, and the whole thing went to hell, and the show went off the air, and so we were sitting there without an opportunity. I didn't have a lot of gigs. I didn't have a lot of wrestling matches, because I was kind of getting to the point to where I was getting kind of sick of wrestling too. And so we were sitting on our butts. We started a podcast, actually, and the podcast actually went well, but that's not like live performance. Radio is great, podcasts are great, but one day we had an opportunity to do a television show, and it was about paranormal stuff, and we were like, what? But basically what had happened is this little twerpy guy, he's a paranormal investigator, quote unquote. He came to Gatlinburg, and if you don't know where Gatlinburg is the second most visited tourist attraction on the eastern seaboard. You will never want for go-karts or pancakes again. This place is like 20-something miles of redneck advanced technology, and just bungee cords and catapults and amusement parks and dinner theaters and Motown reviews and just anything you want, skiing and tubing and hiking and go kayaking and whitewater rafting. A lot of people, zip lines through the mountains. It's a neat place. So he comes here, and he's having a meal, this particular twerpy paranormal investigator, and he runs into Travis Graves and Luke Walker, Big Luke, who are my wrestling friends that we wrestle together. We travel together in wrestling, but they actually were managers of a restaurant. And this guy, this twerpy paranormal investigator guy, was like, do you guys know of any locations around Gatlinburg? I'm shooting a documentary. And Big Luke was like, well, you ought to do a television show. He goes, there's this cat in Pigeon Forge named Funkmaster V, wears a mink coat and big glasses and big personality and talks big noise from the big side of town and blah, 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 and chases big-legged women. He'd be good for television. So the guy was like, okay. So we start to get together, and we have a meeting or two, and he tells us that he's got a deal with Destination America to make a television show about ghosts. I'm like, okay. So we go to the House of Gore. It was actually the first investigation we did where my friend, the furry without a fursuit, lived. And he has a place in Virginia that was a big yard. It's got a huge house, beautiful house, wonderful location. But there was a Confederate cemetery on the property and barn that was haunted, and he had a couple of horses that were really cool to look at. But basically, this guy Mitch, when we went up there, this guy Mitch is the furry guy, the guy I was talking about earlier, real talented. He's got a couple screws loose. I mean, he's everything in the world. Now I don't know if it's true or not, but everything in the world I've ever heard in the paranormal was at this property. There were green lights that would float around like these green orbs. There was an Indian named Big Chief. There was not one, not two, not three, but 4 women. One wore a white dress, one wore a blue dress, one wore a red dress, one wore a black dress. There were 4 kids that lived in the barn or existed in the barn. There was Hellhounds. There were shadow people. I mean, we could go on all night long. And so at this point, with the paranormal stuff, I've had some interactions with spiritual things before, but I never gave it, and I used to like watching ghost hunters and stuff like that when I was younger and had my children were young. But I wasn't a true believer or anything. So me and Luke, who we write comedy skits and stuff like that, and we used to do humorous wrestling vignettes, and we always were trying to be entertaining. We were trying to write a lot of comedy bits to fill up 45 minutes for these shows because I just didn't think we were going to get a whole lot of paranormal evidence. And the first night that we were there, he was telling us, hey, there's hellhounds in the cemetery. And we're like, yeah, hellhounds, like Robert Johnson, right? Like he sold his soul to the devil on the crossroads, and there's hellhounds running around up here. Whatever, but you're being polite to the guy. You're like, oh yeah, hellhounds all the time. I know exactly what you mean. Hellhounds. So we're up there and we're going, what is a hellhound? And we just like, okay. And we're like, come here, boy, come here. And we got like a milk bone and we're out there. Hey, come here, boy. Hey, hellhound. Well, then we hear this loud frickin' growl in the cemetery. And we stop the recorder and we look at each other, and Big Luke's got Asperger's syndrome. He doesn't look anybody in the eyes, but he was looking at me in the eyes after we heard the growl.
You're like, wait a minute, something's going wrong.
And so we're listening to the EVP, and there's a big freaking growl, and you're like, what in the world was that? And it wouldn't stop. And so we go down to the barn, and as soon as I walk in there, there's this machine. It's kind of like a spirit box, but it's not. It's a computer program. But it's one of those things that are supposed to, quote unquote, aid the spirits in telling you things. But as soon as I walk in, this computer goes, oh, we know Gretchen. Just like that. Gretchen's the name of my daughter. And at that point, I'm like, my Baltimore comes out, and I'm like, what'd you say about my family? You want to talk about what is this? You know my daughter. What are you driving at? And so that from that point on, it was like, okay, there's something to it. And when the 4 of us got together, there was some magic, for lack of a better word. And I got to tell you, when we get together, paranormal stuff happens. I hear paranormal teams all the time. Well, about 9 times out of 10, you go to these places, nothing happens. Every time we go somewhere, except a couple of places, almost every time we go somewhere, not only do we get 1 or 2 things, we get a bunch of stuff. And there's been a couple of times that we've had a 45-minute show to fill that we've had too much paranormal evidence to squeeze into 45 minutes.
It's like, to be continued.
Yeah, you really could. We had to leave a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor.
So did you guys come together as a team before you were put into this gig, or did you guys
No,
meet?
it was the guy met Luke and Travis at a restaurant, and was wanting to do a documentary about something in Gatlinburg, and Luke said, let's do a TV show. And the guy at that point said, oh yeah, we got a TV show. So we came up with this idea. This little twerpy paranormal guy, this mealy-mouthed dude, said that he had a paranormal team with a television contract, and they went to this place called the Rabbit Man Cabin on top of this Unicoi, Tennessee mountain, 2 miles from the road. And it was a location where the Rabbit Man was there. And the Rabbit Man is actually a documented police case where a guy named George Sherwin lived in this little cabin, and he loved rabbits. And he kind of was a everybody kind of made fun of the guy. The townsfolk, to scare the kids, would say he's turning into a rabbit. His face was turning into a rabbit. His ears were getting long, and other people were saying he could control rabbits, kind of like the Pied Piper, and he could make them do. I don't know what you'd make rabbits do except screw and eat carrots. I don't know what else they could do, but he could control them or whatever. So a couple of kids went up there, and this was, I don't know, sometime in the 30s or 40s, and some kids went up there and they were drunk or drinking, and they started booting the rabbits off the mountain. Like they were punting them off. And so George took offense at that, and he killed the kids. In fact, one of the children, he drove a railroad spike through his heart into a tree.
Oh my goodness. So
that's the backstory of this particular place. So this paranormal investigator we were with for a while, he said that he went up there and had this horrible event, and this demonic oppression or possession, if you believe in any of this stuff, whatever, something took over half the team, and they became irrational and volatile, and they started punching each other. And the little twerpy guy called his mom, I'm not going to make it home, I'm going to die. So he survived, and I said, well, we were like, a good pitch for this show is that you went to this place, the demons screwed, because he was all about demons. Everything was a demon with this guy. So the demons mess with you, influenced your friends to beat the hell out of you, and you fired them. And so you hired 3 smart aleck big pro wrestlers to protect you. That'll be a good show. And at the end of the first season, we'll go back to this place and see if we can protect you from these demons. Well, things are rocking and rolling, but the problem that occurs is after about the second time we get together to shoot a TV show, we smell a rat. And we're like, this guy is not legitimate at all. Everything he said is a lie. He's a pathological liar. He's weird. He's not good on TV. He doesn't know nearly as much as we do, because I'm an actor too. I bet if you watch ID Discovery or Snapped or anything on the Oxygen Network, I'm on there all the time. Anytime there's a guy with a big goatee or long hair or an afro or something like that that's a white guy, I'm playing that guy.
Right.
So you've probably seen me 100 times on those things.
I know, so I recognized you.
There you go. I was a body and a biker and Phil Hartman's hairstylist and just a whole bunch of stuff. When I cut my hair to run for office, actually I started getting cop roles, and then before that I was always the drug dealer or something. So anyway. Because long hair equals evil, I guess.
That's right. Just ask Jesus.
Yeah, it's very confusing to the Lord, I think. He's like, I thought I was, what's wrong with me? So, but anyway, we found out this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And he tries to fake evidence, and even though we're pro wrestlers and we're all about suspension of disbelief and show, we know that if you get caught faking anything, everything's done. If you're caught faking evidence, everything you've ever caught or captured is you toast. Your credibility's shot. It's like you could have 100 pieces of the best EVPs and full body apparitions on camera, but if you caught, throwing something across the room and making it go kerplunk, and you say, oh, there's a ghost over there, and somebody catches that on camera, you're done. If that gets out, you're toast. So we fired this guy, and he was pretty unlikable to begin with, but we were like, we don't need him. So we kind of kept it going. And at the end of season 1, we go back to the Rabbit Man cabin with full expectation that this whole oppression demonic thing is ridiculous. And my best friend, Big Luke, got affected. Another guy, the docent of the property, the person that let us on to show us around, he got weird. My friend Luke, who never brought a Bible, started reading from the Bible, which was really kind of weird. I was kind of like, what are you doing? That's weird. And the other guy didn't like it. And then everybody started talking about fighting, and we're not going to get into a fight, and it's like, well, of course not. Why would you say that out loud like that? It's a real weird episode. It's called The Rabbit Man Cometh. If you ever see it, it's on ASY Paranormal. I would suggest watching the other 5 episodes before that, but to see kind of how this wasn't really our personalities, and this wasn't really a show like we normally do. But the other strange caveat to that is we finally had to leave. The guys were like, we're about to lose our minds. We got to leave this place. I don't know what's here. And we got tons of EVPs and weird little shadows and lights and things that happen. It was a really funky little time up there. But the next day, Luke and I we were going down to Murphy, North Carolina, which is like, if you ever are bored enough to look at the map, it's right next to the Great Smoky Mountains, and there's like a little hole cut out of the green. The national parks are always these green places on the map, and there's this white little hole called Murphy, and we got to go wrestle there the next night after we do this investigation where Luke almost punches everybody. And and he's 7 feet. That's the other thing too. He's 7 feet tall. I mean, if a guy's 7 feet tall is mad at you, you're in trouble. I don't care who you are. So
yeah, I'd be for running.
So we're driving to Murphy, and it's kind of a weird back road in North Carolina. It's a strange stretch of highway. So we're going down. We're having a cage match. Yippee-ki-yay. And normally Luke's talking about food from Chicago, or he's telling dirty jokes, or we're talking about blues, or we're talking about big-legged women, or whatever. And he's quiet the whole time. And I'm driving, and occasionally I'll look over at him. He's just staring at me. Like I said, he's got Asperger's. He don't normally stare.
You're like, what the hell is happening?
And I was like, you all right? And he's like, oh, yeah. And then he'd look out the window, and I'd be like, okay, tag team partner. And then later, he even says, we put this in. We did a kind of like a recap or whatever as we shot the episode. And he was like, it took me about 4 days before I was myself again. So at that point, that was pretty much season 1. And then season 2 has been a blast. And it's just been the 3 of us. But it was that was a good little stretch there, a little story arc from the first season. But that's basically how we got into the paranormal. Was there was an opportunity. This guy presented, hey man, we're going to be on TV, and it's a done deal. This guy loves me, and you guys are great, and you're entertaining, and you're colorful characters. And he went with it, and he lied to us, and he wanted it to work, but it wasn't a done deal, and he didn't know anybody in the industry. Now, what had happened after we fired him is that our team, Wrestling with Ghosts, we won this Destination America search for the number 1 unsigned paranormal team. And that was exciting. And everybody was
awesome.
Like, yeah, you guys are wonderful. And then we didn't get a TV deal. And then a Canadian production company. You guys are the best ever. This stuff's great. It's funny. You guys are good looking. These locations are fresh. Nobody's ever heard of these places you guys go. The evidence is terrific. Wonderful. Sign this contract. And then 9 months later, it's like, sorry, nothing. I get contacted by this executive producer from frickin' A&E last year. You guys are terrific. Comes back 3 months later, it's not going to work. Then like Harlan Freeman, this guy out of California, Hollywood guy. You guys are terrific. Yeah, it's not going to work.
Dang,
So we
move along.
yeah. And then this sounds like bullcrap for the radio, but it's the truth. Last night we get contacted again by another cable network. You guys are fantastic. We want you. We love you. And it's like, at this point, we're just like, blow it out your nose. You know, it's almost like F you. And so what we decided, and we keep getting the same thing. We keep getting the same feedback from these television companies or production companies, or whatever we're talking to, network buyers or executive producers or whatever. Is the television, the people, the powers that be in television. First of all, cable television is dying. It's just people are getting, if you talk to anybody, I've gotten rid of cable, it's too expensive, the shows are terrible. And so cable is in trouble, and they don't really want to take a chance right now. And in the paranormal universe, basically there's 500,000 people that watch anything. It could be an old episode of Haunting, it could be an old episode of Ghost Hunters, or it could be a brand new episode. So it would bequeath them just to show old reruns they already own with no production value or no production cost. I mean, so they don't really take a lot of chances on anything new. And if they do, they take some celebrity like Jack Osborne and put him in a ghost show. And nothing wrong with Jack or anything else. I'm just saying, that's just kind of what they're doing. It's safe bets.
Yeah, to me that was super odd. Like, okay, here's Jack Osborne and Katrina. Like, how did you guys make this match? And I mean, I watched a couple episodes of it, and it's alright, but I mean, it's the least thing that you would ever expect to see as a paranormal show.
Are you talking about porthole? What the hell? Portal.
Your portals to hell. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen that yet. I know Travel Channel came out with Ghost Bait, and everybody hates it. That I've seen, and the ratings are abysmal. Portals to Hell sounds interesting to me, but this is odd. I'm a musician. I don't go watch shows. I'm a pro wrestler. I don't watch WWE. I'm a paranormal investigator with my own television show. And I don't watch that either. It's strange. I do the stuff. I don't watch the stuff. And maybe if I was smarter, I would and get some pointers or whatever. But I like my stuff to be pretty fresh. And comes from where I'm at. You know, I don't know. I don't want to be influenced. But I'm not entertained because really, you know, I was really entertained when Ghost Hunters first came out because it was new and those guys were serious. It wasn't just like, ooh, what's the old? Is there a ghost of a clown in this place? You know, they were real serious. They were, you know, there was no jokes. It was, okay, these guys are plumbers in the day and now they're doing this at night. And
yeah.
And they were kind of cool in a way.
These guys mean business.
Yeah, that's right. And then Ghost Adventures comes out. And Ghost Adventures is the best comedy on television because you got a douchebag in a tight shirt with big muscles. And he's going to Baggins. I'm just kidding. Yeah, and he's basically berating his friends, and he's alpha dogging those two guys.
Hey,
and
Aaron,
then he's in there
go
going,
in there and mess with that demon. Go see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, go in there.
And, but he'll sit there, is there somebody in here that messes with women? Why don't you pick on me? And then like a broom falls over. And he runs out of the house screaming. I mean, it's like, are you serious? So, but that's funny and that's entertaining, and I give him credit for that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a myriad of other stuff that's just not even close to as entertaining as those two were. And I liked Paranormal State back in the day too.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, that guy. I liked the. I should know his name since the gay
Ryan
psychic.
Buell. Oh no, Chip Coffey.
Chip Coffey. Yeah, I know. Yeah. He was fantastic. And then the guy who ran the show, he was the guy that with Paranormal, or he went to Penn State or whatever.
Yeah, Ryan Buell.
He was so macabre and just, is this the nightmare that I'm living? You know, but that worked, you know, I mean, it worked. And so those three were really good. Those are like the Holy Trinity. And then everything after that, I don't know. I don't know if I got sick of the genre, but that's what we're doing now, is that you want the TV rub, and it would be nice to be put on major cable, because that way I could direct everybody's attention to ASY Paranormal, which is a streaming television network that we launched yesterday after months and months of build-up. And we're excited.
So just yesterday, huh?
Yeah, it's and so if you go to ASY Paranormal, ASYParanormal.com, there's tons of stuff that are free to do on there too. We're trying to get the largest collection of haunted places in America on an interactive map. So paranormal teams or anybody who just wants to go urban explore or whatever, if you get permission, you can go to these places and learn about these particular storied haunts. I know now that, like I told you, I was a skeptic before, and now people are asking me to go in their homes to help them with things. And when people say things like, there's a spirit named, you know, Darth Vader X or whatever, I don't want to say anything evil over the radio, but like, let's just say Trash Can Man is at this.
Jojo Wham Wham.
Yeah, 6699 your mama. So yeah, if I go in, I'd like to go on the internet and see if there's any information. There's not a lot of information about stuff, and that's the other thing too. A lot of people in the paranormal world don't like, they kind of resent paranormal television, but it brought a lot of people into the field, and it also made a lot of people feel good, because used to, if you thought you saw a ghost, you couldn't tell anybody, or you'd be afraid you'd lose your job and get kicked out of your church or whatever, and your wife would leave.
You saw all your friends and stuff, like. Yeah.
So this kind of has made it, the genre has made it okay to believe in ghosts, or whatever those things are.
You were talking about Paranormal State earlier, and I've thanked Ryan Buell several times. Thanks for helping to bring me out of the paranormal closet. It was that and a tragedy that happened in my community. And I grew up with the paranormal in my life, and to me and my family it was always normal, but going out into the real world and first grade and beyond, talking to people about these different things, and they're like, oh my god, this chick is baddish crazy, and I'm going to stay away from her. You know,
well, there's a lot of similarities with people from the LGBTQ community. You know, you feel, because of just the way the society is, you feel like there's something wrong with you, or that you're an outcast, or that people will think of you a certain way. And so now that there's more positive things happening in the LGBTQ community, and people are, you know, being praised and lauded, and instead of just like people wishing they didn't exist. It's the same kind of thing with being a paranormal, somebody who's experienced that kind of thing, or think that you experience that kind of thing. And you still have people on the other side who absolutely do not. They're complete atheists when it comes to the paranormal. But you have it's a lot more accepting. So that's the thing about what we're doing with ASY Paranormal, is that we want this thing to be a community. You can sign on there and do live videos. You could be like a tarot card reader. This is stuff you don't even have to pay for. If you have something in your house, we have a list of paranormal teams. Or if there's something weird going on, you just want to talk to somebody on the phone, or chat with somebody over the internet about something, that's going to be a resource. But mainly, the main thing about it, 99% of it, is all original television programming. And it's stuff that's not, like I said, they wanted us to fake evidence. They wanted us to act scared. They didn't want us to be funny, so they didn't want us to be ourselves. This is what, we are used to the term reality TV, but the sad thing is there's nothing real about reality TV. Watch Lizard Lick Towing, or watch any of these shows, and there's writers and producers and ADs and stuff on the set. This isn't just a bunch of people with cameras. It's a full production, and it's a way for cable television to have programming without paying actors hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
it's a way.
Ridiculous.
It's that you can get. Hell, the Ghost Brothers their first series, they paid them $800 an episode each. So you do a 6-run season, a 6-show run, and you pay them $800. What are they going to buy? Like an old Subaru? What was that good for? You know, I'm like, that's like a secondhand Volkswagen Rabbit or something. I mean, I don't know what that deal was about. So that you can't even get rich.
I know, that guy even like took off his shirt that one episode. I'm like, man, doesn't he get paid extra for that? Come on, man.
I take my shirt off almost every episode in Wrestling with Ghosts. So anyway, with the that's just if there's a lady spirit present, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, the network is for people who, like, if you're a paranormal investigator, you want to have your own show. You have a group that goes out and do these lives. If you can put them into a show format, you can have your own show on the network. If you are somebody that is a filmmaker and you make 5-minute shorts, or if you make 2-hour feature-length films or whatever, you can have that stuff on the network, because there's on the ASY Paranormal right now, the UFO Show with Amy Dumas. It's WWE's Lita. If you ever watched the WWE back with the Hardy Boys and Edge and all that stuff, Lita is actually the one running around investigating UFOs, and it's a great show. We just had another paranormal team last night get uploaded and agree. We have Hellscream Incorporated, which is a Detroit haunted house, which is a behind-the-scenes of what it's like to work at one of those places.
And that's awesome. And I hate to cut you off, but we got to go to our first break. So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
Hey, guess what? You can now get your brand new Spaced Out Radio swag at spacedoutradio.com. We've brought the store back with all new items for you to pick out and pick up for yourself, your family, or friends. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, we got it all. All you have to do is head to our website and click on Store. Choose what you want and it's shipped to you. The Spaced Out Radio store is right there for you. Come shop with us at spacedoutradio.com. Then we can own the night together.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
If you're heading to Vancouver, make sure you stop by the official bar of Spaced Out Radio, the Moose Vancouver. It's the place to party in YVR. At the corner of Nelson and Granville, the Moose Vancouver is always up to speed with a kitchen staff that serves great food. All food on the menu, $6.95 to $8.95. There's a reason the Moose Vancouver is recognized as one of the hottest spots on the West Coast. Get your horns up for the Moose Vancouver. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You can follow Tessa on Twitter at TessaTNT, on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now, back to Spaced Out Weekend host, Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Hear the sound again, voices dancing in my head, smile wide, drowning slowly as the echoes rise.
Hey guys, welcome back and thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. Tonight we are joined by Funkmaster V, aka Vinnie Vineyard. Welcome back. It's so great to have you tonight.
You say my name really adorably, by the way. It's cute, but I dig it. You said you're from. I knew this was you a specific time, so I knew you were on the West Coast. But when I first heard you, I was like, she's got a Southern accent. But anyway, which is not a bad thing at all, by the way. In fact, I prefer it. If you ever dated anybody from like New Jersey or Boston or something, you'd appreciate a Southern girl, especially during the intimate times. Let's just put it that way. Sometimes there's some weird noises coming out of the mouth. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're talking about tonight. Big-legged women. We're talking about ASY Paranormal and wrestling with ghosts, and how these people can go to ASYParanormal.com and check out a brand new, just launched yesterday, Paranormal Network. You don't need an app. You just connect with it on Safari or whatnot. You can on your phone, on your tablet, on the subway, on the bus, while your mom's driving you to gay conversion camp, whatever's happening in your life. You can watch this on the way. And it's going to be on Roku soon, and Fire Stick and all that stuff. And that is the future, I think, of television. It's because everybody watches this stuff on their devices. TVs are now mainly for video games, I think, now. But most people are playing video games. Can you imagine a world where nobody has televisions? I mean, that could happen. I mean, we are living in such a strange time. I own a taxi cab company, and those are hurting because of like Uber and Lyft. And who would have ever thought taxi cab companies would be almost on the outs? But like newspapers are almost gone. I don't know how old you are, but in my life I have seen these things. Who would have ever thought television would be almost antiquated? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I watch TV on my cell phone all the time now, and it's like, wow, I don't even need a TV anymore. I can just take this wherever I go.
It's so weird. It's like, who would have ever thought that? But anyway. So this is the future, and at one point in my life, I'm actually ahead of the curve, I think. So this ASY Paranormal has tons of shows, and I just want to list some of these shows for people just to see what we've got. And again, these are all original shows. You can only get them on the ASY networks. This is ASYParanormal.com. And so these shows are all like horror-based or scary or paranormal or whatever, but you got the UFO Show with Amy Dumas, which is WWE's Lita. You've got Wrestling with Ghosts, which is 3 sexy comedic wrestlers. Those guys are very handsome, especially one with the afro. We got one last night that came in. Their name is Interface Death Paranormal Research. Now, that name sounds a little whack to me, I guess, but the show is great. And see, like Luke and I and Travis on Wrestling with Ghosts, we don't do a lot of gadget stuff. We're just not down with that. But these guys are very techy. So if you're into that tech stuff on how to investigate, this is your jam. If you're into more of the high touch instead of high tech stuff, that's more like Wrestling with Ghosts. So you got even a little option there from the get-go. And then you've got Alone in the Dark, which is another paranormal show, but it's one guy braving the darkness himself. You've got a Sparkle Nation, which is a travel show where they go around the country looking for counterculture subjects to talk about. There's a thing called Hack's Horror Show, which is a really wacky kind of, let's see, what is that? He calls it something weird. I've got it, I've got to sign in. I'll do that next break. But he calls it like a science experiment. There's science experiments and music videos, and it's just a weird kind of thing. And the graphic of him is like, he looks like he's got a chainsaw cutting supposedly a human being, maybe. I don't know. It's just fake. It's not, don't freak out there, Mom. Then Hellscream Incorporated, we were talking about, they go to a Detroit haunted attraction, and it's kind of the behind the scenes of what happens at one of those places. We actually, one of the coolest things I think we got on the network is this show called One Step Beyond, which was the precursor to the Twilight Zone. It really is, there's some really wacky story lines. There's some really wacky plot devices, and some of this stuff's crazier than the Twilight Zone ever thought about being. It's basically the marrying of early television and old horror radio plays. It's wacky, and it's on the network. $2.99 a month, less than $3 a month. My goodness. There's another show called It Happened to Me. I actually produced this one. This is a ghost story show where people just tell ghost stories. and it's real raw, but I think it's real effective. You got a little, you got a little editing effect in there, maybe a little noise in the background, a little song makes it sound spooky, but really it's just human beings. They're not actors. They're not aspiring to be television personalities. They're just people talking about ghost stories that happen to them, and people are like, you know what? That is a really, really wacky and an effective way to communicate. And it's a good show. And that's another thing. If you want to participate on this network, we're asking for all sorts of type of filmmakers. You can just actually, if you just like, I'd like to be on TV. I never have. If you have a decent ghost story, film it, send it to me, find me online, Facebook, funkmasterv.com. I'm on funkmasterv.com, ASY Paranormal, any of these types of things, I'm on there. And but basically, if you want to look on Facebook, Funkmaster V, Vinnie Vineyard, Vineyard, you'll find me. Send me this stuff. I'll put you in the show, man. You'll be famous. There's classic horror movies. My daughter just actually found one called A Page of Madness, which is a 1926 Japanese horror movie that's a silent film, and they say it's one of the best horror movies of the 20th century, and it's from 1926 Japan, and it is most of those movies from that time period were lost to like fires and just people not thinking of preserving the culture. In fact, this movie is incomplete. There's like about a quarter of it is lost to history. But it is creepy as heck. I mean, visually speaking, it's one of the most striking movies I've ever seen. But we've got tons of horror movies. We've got a thing called Geeks Paranormal, which are two ladies that sit there and they'll jive talk. They'll do a podcast about the paranormal, or they'll go investigate. We got a group out of Ohio called Ectovision Paranormal. We got a lady out of the UK called Parasearch Radio, where she'll combine podcasts and investigations. Got a video game show called Dead Zombies, where kids playing video games and talking about the horror-based. Got one called Big and Funky Present, and if you're a fan of wrestling with ghosts, it's the puppet forms of Funkmaster V, Big Luke, and Travis Graves, as we have just unbelievable adventures as puppets as we present really bad movies to the people, and like really bad B movies. It's pretty fun. It's like the Son of Svengoolie type vibe. Got
you
another.
gotta have your B vitamins.
You gotta have your B. You had to make it through one of those episodes. You have to have your B vitamins. I like that. That needs to be like a tagline in there. I'm gonna slide that in there somewhere, and I'm gonna slide you a couple $. I'll get you a Starbucks gift card so you can go drink some Starbucks with Daenerys Targaryen. But so then we got Paranormal Mysteries. These guys are funny as all get out, and that's another group from Ohio. I'm not sure what's going on in Ohio, but there's a lot of paranormal activity, I guess. And there's another show called Frenzy, Hacking the Paranormal. The host of this show is an interesting character. He's one of these guys. He's a mentalist. He's a hypnotist. He's also an attorney. He's actually he's in certain situations he will be my attorney if I ever need him. I know who he is personally. He goes to he does seminars to where he teaches people how to use tricks and mental mental tricks and power of suggestion to influence jury selection. I don't know if that's ethical or not, but it's it's interesting. And so this guy's
down and dirty.
Hey, it's American courtroom jive. It's none of that stuff's above board, I'm afraid.
Right.
But so anyway, he does a show where he's trying to help educate people who've been, I don't know, this people. That's the thing about the paranormal universe. Is some of the people here are gullible in our little club, and this is a way to help them out. He kind of it's like a how-to or a self-help show on how not to get fooled. Like he investigates cults and secret societies and scammers. There's people who will, for $2,500, they'll try to find where your missing daughter is, that kind of stuff. How you can see if they're full of crap or not.
Right.
Interesting show. So, and there's a bunch of short films on there too, and ghost stories that you could just pull it for free. You can pull up and read some ghost stories that people contribute. So this is a ton of content for $2.99 a month. It's not just like Netflix. It's a community. It's going to be a hub. It's going to get bigger. There's going to be more shows. There's going to be more content. And I think it's pretty freaking fantastic, if I do say so myself. And it's ASY Paranormal. And, you know, like I said, the stuff on the cable television, they don't want real on TV. I'm just telling you that they want sensationalized programming. They want gotcha moments. They want moments to where the camera can go cha-chong, like CSI, as they go to commercial, and they make you sit through the commercial break. Yeah. And they just, you know, it's sensationalized. This is Jive here. Real scary. That's the tagline of the network, but it's got a double entendre there. It means not only is it real scary, but it's actually real. It's not faked. And, well, that's it. One day we may have porn, if that's where you're going with that.
No, I was thinking of the Funkmaster. I'm like, what would be a funk theme song going into that? But Trick from the chat room was wondering, have you heard anything strange or been to Hellier, Kentucky?
The only investigation I've ever done in Kentucky was a personal investigation with the entire cast of Wrestling with Ghosts. And we got a video of a lady. Hello, lady. Anyway, wow, Jerry Lewis. Why did I think of saying that? Yeah. So a lady was kind of thrown through the skirt of a trailer. What is that called? Is that called a skirt that goes around the trailer at the bottom so, you know, the varmints don't get in there? Okay, So anyway, the skirt that goes around the trailer. She falls down, or something happens, and you see her hair being pulled violently. And they wanted us to come up there. So we go all the way to Kentucky. All the way to Kentucky. We show up. We get in the house, trailer. The place smells like a Cypress Hill concert. Everybody's freaking high.
Nice.
Yeah, right? They weren't sharing. And when we get there and we're like, hey, we're from the TV show, we're here to see what happened, blah, blah, blah. Everybody started acting like we were the 5-0. And so they wanted us to leave. The actual girl that the event happened to was at school, and we were like, didn't we have an arranged time? And so we go out to eat at a Mexican restaurant, and they basically called and told us not to come back. Now, one of the guys who's a wrestler on the show is named Travis.
I saw that one. Oh, Schnikes, yeah. That was terrible.
You remember this, right?
Yeah.
So Travis Graves is kind of our youngest member, and he's a wrestler, and he's the one who has Snapchat, because me and Luke are too old for such things. And he was sitting there looking at it, and he says, you know what, this is just a reversed video. And if you reverse the video, it's just a chubby chick falling down. And her hair, she is embarrassed, so she dips her head forward, and her hair kind of falls. But if you reverse it, it looks like a ghost is like, come here, hooker, and grabs her hair and pulls her up. And it's just like, what? And then, very good. I wish he would have said that to us. If he paid attention more in the meetings, he could have saved us like 10 hours of driving up there or whatnot.
Right.
But anyway, that's the only experience that I had in Kentucky. And that, even though it made a funny bit on the show, it kind of sucked. Now, I've been to Bristol, Virginia, which is real close to Kentucky. I've been to the Sensabaugh Tunnel, which is in Tennessee, but it's real close to Kentucky. But those are the closest that I've been. But I'm sure we'll go soon. It seems weird. We keep going to Ohio. There's a lot of stuff happening in Ohio. There's all these paranormal teams from Ohio. I'm not sure what's happening in Ohio, but we need to probably take better care of the dead or something. There's a lot of good stuff going on up there, but we've been kind of bypassing Kentucky since that last experience. Now he said there was I don't know. He said a specific town. If he wants to elaborate on what's going on there, we are always looking for new places to go. And one of the things that we like to do, just because we're cute like this, is we really don't like going to the big name places. A lot of people, when we post on Facebook, where's some good places to go? People always say Trans-Allegheny and Waverly and South Pittsburgh
Waverly Hills. Go to Waverly Hills.
Yeah, and Poasttown Elementary and this, that, and the other. And look, these are all wonderful places. And if you enjoy the Bobby Mackey's, that's one in Kentucky. But if you like these places, fantastic. High five for Jesus. We're just rocking and rolling into the new world order there, baby. Just whatever you want to do. But for us, it seems like we do better on these little known places. And I like bringing a lot of places to light. And in fact, close to Kentucky is a town called La Follette. And if we were on major cable 10 years ago, people would be talking about La Follette being the most haunted place in the United States. I know that for a fact. If you watch season 1 with Wrestling with Ghosts, which is on ASY Paranormal for only $2.99 a month, if you go watch this episode, I think there's 3 or 4. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. There's 3. There's 3 episodes based in La Follette out of 8. And we went to a lot of different places. And we keep going back because the shows there are the ones that blow us away. You will go to Hell's Bar Dam. We've gone to Poasttown. We've done this, that, and the other. We went to Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, which was great. But this town of La Follette puts them all to shame. And nobody knows in the country, nobody knows this place. And it's like we're screaming from the mountaintops, hey, I want you to subscribe to this network. It's America. It's capitalism. It's what it is, man. But there's something that we offer here. We're putting a magnifying glass on places that nobody even knows about. The fact that there's no cable television show that has gone to one of these places is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. They keep rehashing these old haunts, which is fine, and those places are cool, and I'm not putting down anything. I'm not putting down Poasttown. I'm not putting down Hell's Bar Dam. I'm not. Those places are wacky and wild and fun, and the people that work there are terrific. But I'm just saying, La Follette, goodness. Let me tell you a story about La Follette. Now, episode 4 is called Going Postal because we go to the old La Follette post office. And this was actually just a Facebook Live, the first part of this episode, because we were raising money for dogs or sick hamsters. I can't remember. Some sort of downtrodden animal we were trying to help out. Basically, we're just trying to get girls to like us, if you catch my drift. But anyway, we're not good people. Anyway, we're bad guy wrestlers. What do you want from us? So we go and we make these friends. There's actually a wrestling promoter. There's a lot of weird wrestling on our network too. A lot of weird wrestling interchanges between musicians and wrestlers and ghost hunters on this network. But it's true. There's a wrestling promoter up there called Perfect Pat, and he said, I got a guy I know named Alan Miller, and Alan Miller is he is the seminal Southern ex-liberal, college-educated, silver beard, silver hair, metrosexual haircut, with a storyteller. There's a Tennessee storyteller. He's got a slight Southern accent, and he can spin a yarn, and everything he says is real credible, and he's just fantastic. And he does a thing up there called the Ghost Walk. Alan Miller's Ghost Walk La Follette.
Nice.
If you're ever in the area, even if you're not, you should go down there and check this guy out because he walks around the city and he tells you all the crazy stuff that's happened. And I swear to you, one time he had me and Luke out there. He paid us some money, which was very nice. And I got to wear the mink around and the afro and walk around this hillbilly town. And tell all the lovely people about what we saw while we were in La Follette the numerous times. And lo and behold, as we're doing the investigation, we see a full body apparition. I'm not kidding. But this town is nuts. The old Going Postal is based in this old La Follette post office, and like I said, it was supposed to be a social media broadcast for some sort of charitable cause with sick llamas or something, alpacas that have IBS or something. I don't know what we were doing.
I think I saw this one too.
Yeah, and so the camera quality is not good. We're doing cell phones, and we're just being, hey, and a lot of it is like, oh, there's Christy. Like, hi, Christy, that kind of irritating stuff you see on. But as soon as it starts going crazy, it turns into insanity. We're there with 20-something people that have paid to show up to investigate with these butt nuts from Wrestling with Ghosts. Within the hour, everybody's gone except for Wrestling with Ghosts. Right. Everybody took off because they were like, I can't handle this place. There was things being thrown across the room, lockers slamming. We got a full-body apparition on camera. And it was targeting women because this place, before it was a post office, was
this the one where that girl kept getting locked in the rooms and stuff?
Yes.
You're like, where'd she go? And she's like, let me out!
Yeah, the doors would slam behind her. She'd get locked in the room. And a lot of this too is like, is she doing this?
Right.
But we had tons of cameras. She never was caught slamming the door behind her. She never was caught. We never had evidence that she was doing this to herself.
Well, you could tell too by her, her demeanor and such that she was really stressed out and it was really freaking her out. And she's like, "Who's doing this?" And yeah, you could tell it was really draining on her.
Oh yeah, like there was one point where. Okay, her boyfriend, Travis Graves, he's built like Mr. Incredible. In fact, he's a good-looking kid. Luke always says he looks like Tom Cruise got stung by a lot of bees.
Yeah,
just kind of a chubby Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So his girl walks out. The camera's on her. The door slams, and these are heavy doors. We're in a basement of a federal building, and the door slams behind her. And you hear her scream, and he runs and does a shoulder block on the door, and it doesn't budge. He had to do it twice. And we're out there, and I'm like, all right, because everybody's freaking out. At that point, everybody's just like, Jesus and baby Jesus and God and help us. And I was like, all right, everybody needs to get out. We need to reset. And you hear a voice going, and I say something like, get her out of here, with my little weird voice that I have. And you hear this voice go, get her out of here. And it was like, what the heck? It's making fun of me. So we go back. This was a little sneaky. It was actually 2 nights. We went back without all these people. And at one point I said, if you're going to pick on anybody, don't pick on the women. Pick on somebody your own size. Pick on Luke. Not me, of course, but pick on Luke. Well,
that guy, Luke, right there.
Yeah, Luke is a 6'8" pro wrestler. He's undefeated in tough man contests. He's a boxer, ex-cop, ex-SWAT team member, blah, blah, blah. Tough guy. Athlete, basketball player, football player, that kind of stuff. Tough guy. And he's been in a lot of weird situations. And being his friend over the years, he tells me a lot of these things that are strange about, we'll go somewhere, and he'll be like, oh, yeah, I saw somebody fall to their death right here, and they landed right here. And I'm like, well, that's gross. I don't want to know that. Don't describe what you saw, because I'm sure it wasn't pretty. But he's got all that in his head. So that night, and you can see this on the episode, you see a giant, a summertime Santa Claus, basically get picked apart by the paranormal. It fries his brain.
Man.
There was a slam on one of the walls where he was, and you hear him. And see, I'm his friend, so This is the other thing too. People think I was doing this stuff because I'm smiling from ear to ear. Yeah. This is one of my closest friends, and you like seeing your boys fried. So I'm just sitting there smiling like, yeah, this is getting you. This is hilarious. And I'm just kind of like, and everybody's like, are you doing this? I'm like, dude, I'm in the other room. What are you talking about? There was like a slam door where there was no door at all. It gets crazy, but the craziest things is you keep hearing these disembodied EVPs saying Luke. And Luke. Well, there's one part where he's put in a man bun to make fun of Travis because Travis has a man bun.
Yeah.
And so there's a slam door, and he's like, he loses his breath, and he jackknifes over, and he's like, and then I come into the room, and I'm like, look, man, this is supposed to be fun. We're having a good time. Nothing's going to happen. And he starts going down the steps, and he's like, I got this stupid man bun. And he starts pulling the man bun out like he's like, because he knows he looks like a boob. He's like freaking out, and he's got this man bun. You know, he's too tall and too old to have a man bun. So he gets down to the hallway, man, and it's like, Luke. And he's starting to flip out. And the last two, he's there with Beth and Travis. He comes in, and you just hear this, Luke. And it was like, did it say Luke? It said your name. And then you hear this other one going, Luke, louder. Dude, and he hits the bricks. I mean, when a 7-foot tall guy is like hitting he pulls a Zach Baggins in that episode. But if something keeps saying that.
He ran outside, right? He's like, I'm so out of here.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's over. And then they thought it. Here's the inside scoop on that episode since you saw it. He comes out and they're like, it's Funkmaster. Funk did this. Where's Vinny? And I was in my car watching the crap on my phone because I told you it was a social media.
Right. And I
went, when my last scene was done, I was like, I'm going to go the all. For some reason, in this podunk little town, La Follette, there's an all-night diner that's pretty good. And I was like, I'm going to get some cheeseburgers. So I went to go get some bacon cheeseburgers because I don't love my heart.
Right.
And I'm in the car chomping away, just having a big old time watching this jive happen in real time. And I'm like, I'm in my car. They go around to where I am. They see me in the car. And I'm like, oh, my God, it wasn't him. There's nobody left. Like I said, everybody's gone. And that evening, I can't remember. There was somebody was taking pictures for some reason. I guess it was because of the felines with mange or whatever charity we were doing. Yeah. But somebody was there taking pictures, and there was I swear, the main part that was the main part of the post office where the people sorted is kind of the main hall, and it's kind of where it was a community center for a while where they put on little crappy plays and stuff like. I don't know, Taming of the Shrew or whatever, presented La Follette Community Playhouse. But so this thing's pretty big. You could also play basketball in here pretty easily. It's probably 3 stories tall, the ceiling. And we're taking pictures, and there's this loud knock that's 30 feet off the ground that sounds like the 5-0 coming in through a window. And me and Luke both turn around and go, enough already, enough. It's like, we had so much paranormal evidence. We were just like, we're exhausted. We're mentally tired. Forget about it. So, yeah. And that was a wild one. So that's, did the guy ever comment back about Kentucky?
Yeah, he said, hell yeah, Kentucky.
Hell yeah, Kentucky. Hell yeah, Kentucky. I don't know nothing about, that. I mean, I would imagine he had something specific in mind. Or maybe he just is worried that there's paranormal activity there. I don't know. But, yeah, if there's anything good there, like a haunted shoe factory or something, just tell us about that. And I'd love to get that on. And if you've got it, if this gentleman, Chip, if he's got a story, videotape yourself, hold the camera horizontally, videotape yourself telling, and I'll put you on an episode of It Happened to Me. If you got a good ghost story that actually ends, don't do the thing where, I had a couple of these where it was like, well, sometimes there's I don't know what really's going on. It's just like a thing. It's it's got to have we got to have a story
It's
moving.
like a thing or something or another. Not
It's
quite
like
sure
a-
what it is.
It's like a thing, but I don't know. It's more like a happening than a thing. We got to do better. We got to do better than that. But if something's going on up there, we'd love to know, man. And that's close to us. Like I said, we're in East Tennessee near Knoxville and Gatlinburg. I don't know where Hellier is, but I got some crazy stories about Kentucky, but it was more of the days when I was playing rock and roll. In fact, I want to tell this story. There was a town called Stearns, Kentucky, which is an old coal mining town. And for some reason, when we were pimping Ain't Easy, this guy, our drummer, one of our drummers was in AA and NA. He was an ex-alcoholic. And so we would get some weird gigs. Like we played with Peter Frampton once at a campground in northern, like an hour north of Nashville at a campsite. Like, okay, I'm playing with Peter Frampton in front of 8 people. We just got some weird gigs, So, but that's what kind of the AA Iggy gave us, or the AA and the NA rub. But there was a guy named Claude. He may still be alive. But he is if you made a movie about a futuristic space Kentucky preacher pimp, this is who it would be. Oh, yeah. He was heavy. He had a silver mullet that was perfect. He had a Jesus crucifix earring, like see-through futuristic glasses, a Bluetooth when they were new in the ear, glass cane, and a pit bull named Vinnie. And every time he'd be like, Vinnie, get over here. And that's my name, by the way, if you don't know this. Funkmaster V. Yeah, I'd be like, I'm a grown man. You don't talk to me. And then I realize, oh, he's talking to his pit bull. Vinnie, you need to get over here right now, boy. And I'd be like, son of a bull, you don't talk to me? I'm from... Oh, talking to the dog. I got you. But there was a gig up there in Stearns, Kentucky, which is about an hour and a half off the interstate. So it's kind of out in the middle of the sticks. And our hotel had a moonshine still in the front yard. That's not a lie. And we would play this thing that was a Christian television broadcast. Now, our band name was Pimpin' Ain't Easy. And we basically played funk and hip-hop and vile things about girls' booties and substances and stuff that people would put in their bodies. So we're sitting there going, we're going to be on Christian TV. What's the most Christian song we got? Okay, Stevie Wonder was a Christian. All right, we're going to do Superstition. What's next? Brown Eyed Girl, about a slave girl getting raped. That's probably the next cleanest song we got. We didn't have a very good selection. We had to learn a couple of tunes to get to play up there. So this place had, and this is just an aside because it's interesting, but this place had, people would pull up like a drive-in movie theater. They wouldn't stand outside like a regular festival. We were kind of in an old car dealership, and people just pulled up. And when people liked your songs, they would flash their lights at you. If people really liked their song, they would honk the horn. Now, we didn't know this, so we had about 150 cars. We were done with the first song on Christian TV, and everybody starts honking their horn. I think there's like a semi coming down the mountain or a coal truck with lost its brakes, and it's about to kill everybody. And I'm like, holy God! It's just one of those things. Like, I'm cool rocking. Yeah, I'm cool rock and roller with my guys, and then all of a sudden I'm on the ground, like, on my hands and knees. Yeah, what's happening? But anyway, we went up there and played several times. We had, my lead singer one time had blue hair, and people all over town took pictures of him. It was a cute thing, man. It's cute up there. We signed a lot of like rocks and old T-shirts and trash. People didn't have things to sign or to own. They just wanted our autographs.
Yes, I never thought of using a rock. Like, I've been online and been like, man, what am I going to use? How about this dollar bill or something? I never thought of picking up a rock.
Mountain Dew bottles. Yeah, Mountain Dew bottles and whatever. So all this stuff. So one time we were up there, and my drummer and my guitar player were late. And so Claude the pimp, I think his name was Claude, or Clyde. It was Clyde. He actually had a T-shirt of his face that covered his whole chubby body. And just think about it, the hubris you have to have, the narcissism to have a giant picture of your face, anyway, on your own T-shirt for no reason, because you have the Access Christian variety show. So anyway,
I'm my own grandpa. Check it out.
Right. So this guy's kind of, now I like this guy, don't get me wrong, but he's kind of a jerk in a way. Like there's a darkness to this guy. I know he's Christian, he's nice, he paid us well. I'm not saying anything bad, but the guy kind of was a pimp in a way too. There was kind of like an alter ego thing there going on. He's an ex-addict, so something was going on there.
Right.
So our guitar player, our lead singer, our drummer is late. So me and the guitar player are sitting there, and we're playing in front of a bunch of kids, like 11 and under, and they are getting restless. So Claude goes, all right, we're going to play Simon Says. And the winner gets $20. Now, this is the perfect, that just sounds like the beginning of the best, like a guy who has no idea how to motivate children, so he just goes to cash. So he's just, I'm going to pay the winner $20. So here's what we do. We're going to do Simon Says till the band shows up. So you've got about 80 kids. Now, here's the funny thing. He doesn't know how to play Simon Says. Do you know how to play Simon Says?
Yeah, I learned that in grade school.
Right. So you basically are trying to fool people, right? You sit there and you're like, jump up and down. And whoever jumps up and down, you go, Simon didn't say, you're out. Mm-hmm. Simon has to say everything you do. You Simon says this. You Simon say that. You got to do it. If you don't do it, you're eliminated. So, but he doesn't know how to play. So we've got like 6 dozen kids or something there. And they're excited because Grandpa Claude's going to give them $20 if they win. So how he plays is he commands the children to do things, and he never once gives a command that doesn't have Simon Says in front of it. So this turns, instead of a mental game of listening and kind of getting out of your own way and discerning between doing something and not doing something, this turns into a weird, almost military type, strenuous exercise game. So basically what would happen, Simon says jump up and down. Simon says jump up and down. Simon says jump up and down. Simon says jump faster. Simon says jump faster. It's all these kids. He's trying to eliminate people because of their lack of athletic ability. It's what
can't breathe.
Yeah, exactly. Then like the heavy kids are like, Simon says go faster. You're not going faster. Simon says go faster. And the kid's like crying, I'm trying. And he's sweating, and the rosacea or whatever on the cheeks, and you just see, and he's like, this kid's going to have a heart attack. And go, you're not going faster. Sit down. Then he goes, Simon says lay on the ground. Simon says lay on the ground. Everybody lays on the ground. Simon says keep your feet up. Keep your toes together and your feet up 6 inches off the ground. Simon says keep them up. If you've ever done this, if you ever lay on the ground and left your ankles, or you put your ankles together and try to lift your feet up about 6 inches and hold it there, that is hard.
Isn't that like Hello Dollies or something? Hello Dolly.
I don't remember that, but your thighs turn to fire after a while. The lactic acid goes crazy because your body's like, what are we doing? And so he's getting all the fat kids and all the kids that aren't, nerds. But Simon says, keep it. And then the kids, their feet hit the ground, then they're eliminated. See, this is how it happens. It's not listening. And I'm rolling over here. I mean, and the final game is like running. Simon says win. Simon says win. Simon says get there first. And like the kids are like, and so whoever didn't show up first is eliminated, and so we're dying. So that's Kentucky. So that answers that question, sir. I hope you enjoyed that. And then we got off and played Brown Eyed Girl and Creed. So that's that.
Other therapists, aka the rapist songs. Therapist, the rapist, same thing. Adnam was wondering, Vinny, how many gnomes fit in a wrestling ring?
How many
gnomes?
Gnomes?
Gnomes. Gnomes.
Gnomes. Yes. My tag team partner has a... he's scared of midgets, or little people. I guess he actually trained Hornswoggle, if people know who that is. He's kind of like the green... He looks like a little leprechaun. He was a wrestler, but he trained him, but he also... And he likes him, but he's also petrified of him. And I think Luke also doesn't want Tyrion to win the Game of Thrones. I think he's very terrified of little people.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'd say you could fit a lot of gnomes in a wrestling ring. I think you could just keep stacking them and stacking them. It could be an insane amount of gnomes. Probably too many gnomes. It would probably then at that point turn into something paranormal. A couple of those things will have some spirits on them or something.
Right.
Yeah.
He didn't say how far up or out or whatever. Like, I mean, we could put a plethora of gnomes in there.
We could. I don't know if we'd want to, but we could.
And he said, Adnam also said, show idea, gnome hunters, I'll take a check.
Yeah, you could do that one. There's a lot of bad television in there that would be worse than that. I can't believe there's... What is the deal with the wars? Like, they always, like, storage wars and parking war. Why is this a war? What? And when I watch it, there's no, like, there's no sides. There's no, like, there's no guns. There's no cannon play or strategic battlefield reenactments. It's just like somebody's trying to decide whether or not they want to buy this shed that's got an old sewing machine in it. I don't get it, but it's weird. So yeah, the gnome investigating thing could really fly for you. It sounds better than most.
Right.
That's why we're selling ASY Paranormal. These shows are good. They have heart. Some of them may not have the $1 million production company type look. Some of them do, but they've got heart. They got soul. They got the funk, as I say.
Yeah, I mean, if I let my kids do it, they'll watch other kids playing video games. I'm like, really? Like, you could do this at home for free. You're watching people online playing video games.
I've never understood that. I've never understood.
I see. They were like, "What are you doing?"
That's a huge thing. We do have one show where the kid has the kind of they call it the ocular rift, which I thought was like a porthole to hell. I was like, well, he's got a what? Is he okay? Do we have an old priest and a young priest? What do we have? But he has that's a virtual reality thing. So he's got one of those shows on the ASY Paranormal.com network. But I've never understood the affinity to watching other people play video games.
Or play with their toys. Yeah, it's really weird. I'm like, we're just really like, we can't believe our kids are into this. And we're like, no, you got to watch something else. This is not good for your brain.
Well, yeah, I don't want to sound like an old fuddy-duddy. It's like, when you play with your toys... Well, when you play with your toys, you are... I'm not talking about you and your toys. That's a totally different show.
Shush.
That's after the third hour. But
right.
When you're a kid, a little girl, you play with your toys. That helps you conflict resolution. It helps your narrative with how things go. It helps imagination and your creativity. And watching somebody play, I don't know what that does for you. I don't know. Is it just because nobody has playmates anymore? I don't know. I don't know what itch that scratches, but to me it seems pretty dang lazy. But
yeah, to me it seems kind of stalkerish, like the peeping Tom looking through the window at the family, or whatever going on through the window, like another person watching this other person do something. Wow, I wish I could do that. I'm like, wow, you got video games, go play your own video game. Why are you watching this? I don't understand.
I didn't know peeping Toms were interested in Nintendo Switch and Legos, or whatever. But
we got different things going on.
There was a lady that was on YouTube, and she may still, and she's just got this soft voice, and she's like, okay, and she's got she'll go to the store and come back and film herself opening up like a Play-Doh set of something, knives and little factory, quote unquote factory, that makes big long streams of Play-Doh in a shape or whatever. And I mean, kids will just sit there with their mouth open like it's freaking, like it's cake for a fat dude or something. It's just,
My
they're just
mama
like,
won't let me have Play-Doh because we have carpet.
Yeah, well, maybe that's it. Maybe it is voyeurism. I don't know.
And Chuck Bam is in the chat room. He's like, X-rated ghost hunts? Do you have anything like that on your channel?
Just go to Pornhub, man. You don't need it. But the
right. It's free.
There is a no, we don't have that on here. I know the guy Brandon Bishop who owns the network. He's from Colorado Springs, or he's from Detroit really, but he lives in Colorado Springs. He would probably be down with that. And on the ASY network, the main network, there's a show. Now this guy will like it, and I may like this. You may not dig this, but it's a house full of girls that dress up as cats or something. They live as cats, and there's just something about that. It's something to do with ego, super ego, or the id. I can't explain it. I don't want to be like, hey, that's something else, but there's something to that. It's something weird about the human animal. Maybe a little embarrassing, but yeah, that's kind of something. They just kind of, it's kind of like the real world, but a bunch of girls in cat costumes. Yeah, it's pretty good, but that's on ASY TV. But, it's not a. There is a Playboy ghost hunting show, but the ratings are terrible.
Right.
It really comes down, and this is the reason with Wrestling with Ghosts, it does pretty well. It comes down to personalities. If the personalities can move the narrative forward, doesn't matter if the camera angles are great or if the sound is 100% terrific, or it's you fall in love with characters. That's kind of what we hope, and the other shows on here, you kind of hope that you kind of connect, and because the bad thing, if you ever, I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but let's say the Playboy girl that is doing the ghost hunt, if she's a Playboy model, she probably, and this is generalization, don't want to say anything awful, but she probably, the only thing really going on for that particular human being is she's probably awesome looking.
Right.
And when it comes to personality or maybe intellect or business sense or being sweet to other people, she may be lacking in those areas. And so there's only so much of the, okay, are you there? Are you there? Is there someone out here in the darkness as she chomps her gum?
Oh my goodness. Can you totally hear me right now?
I know you probably think that I shouldn't be wearing these type of shorts in this weather, but I don't know what legs, pardon the pun, what legs a show like that has. I mean, it sounds like one of those things that sounds like a good idea, and then after a while you're just like, hey, I'd rather just, this is me. I don't know how, this is late in the evening, and if there's any children late, and I'm not going to do anything lewd. I know you're on terrestrial radio, but if I don't like Hooters, because there's a time to eat, and there's a time to rub on a big-legged woman, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't like it at the same time. I get disgusted at both. I don't want to eat, and I don't want to look at the women. There's a time for that. And the same thing with this thing. There'd be a time, if I was in a dark room with a girl from Playboy, we're not going to be talking about ghosts, if you catch my drift.
Right.
Yeah, that moved over there, honey. I saw that Coke can. Yeah, it flipped upside down.
Yeah, forget about it.
Let's talk about how you doing. How you feeling?
How you doing?
Yeah, that's how we would roll. I don't know. It's just one of them things. But I'm sure something's out there for you. Check out that Playboy thing. And then also the ASY TV. If you go to ASYTV.com, that furry gimmick is pretty good too. The cat
the
girl
furless
thing.
Furry.
No, that guy is not. That guy. There's a. I don't know how much time we have left, but with the furry. I guess I'll come back. We're about up to the break, right? Or what do we got?
Yeah, we got about T-minus. Oh, let's see, 3 minutes, 2 minutes and counting.
I can squeeze this in 2 minutes. So this guy, the furry without a fursuit, there's different levels to furries. And I never knew this before until I met him. But you basically have the furry, which is a nice, likable or unlikable kid who dresses up for some reason in an animal suit to accentuate their personality or to be really who they are. Now, that's always baffled me. I don't know why somebody has to wear a furry suit to be who they are. It seems like you're being somebody else, but that's how they feel. Now, the good thing about the furries, if you're ever at a comic book convention and the furries are there, or some sort of horror convention, follow them as they head towards the corner of the room. Because what they're about to do is they're sitting there acting goofy and they're overreacting and they're acting like a cartoon animal. When they go to the corner of the room, they're taking their head off. And when they take the head off, you see this slimy, sweaty kid going, the suits are very hot. Now, the next level, or the level before that, the level before that is the furry without a fursuit. And that basically means you were a furry and you're just living on like government housing, or you lost your furry suit in a pool game or something.
What if you have like a razor with a bunch of fur sticking out of it and some like patches or something?
There's the furry without a fursuit just hangs out with the furries. They're like the furry roadie. And the third level, and you may not know this, is the Jesus loving furries that go around and wave at kids and act like and walk up behind people while they're getting a picture taken to kind of photobomb them. Those sweet children, if something happens like Gargamel starts to change the mind, or there's some sort of slippage in morality, the furry can slip into what's called the MERS.
Uh-oh.
I'm not making this up, but the MERS are the furries that like having sex with other furries. And those suits have a thing called MER holes, where things pass back and forth between the costumes. And so, friend, if you're out there in Radioland, this is Funkmaster V from Wrestling with Ghosts. I'm going to tell you, if you're out there in Radioland and you're thinking about getting yourself a second-hand fursuit because you think you're a furry, always check. Yeah, just always check to make sure that your suit does not have MER holes.
On that note, you guys, we got to go to our second break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology: Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Sit back, relax,
grab a drink, and listen closely. Spaced Out Radio continues through the weekend. From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to you, listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Weekend with Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Hey guys, welcome back and thanks so much for joining us this evening. Right now we are joined by Funkmaster V, aka Vinnie Vineyard. Welcome back. How you doing?
Is that your real voice or are you just trying to make fun of me?
I'm just trying to get along.
I'm doing good. You're right. You said this 3 hours will fly by and it's already been 2. We're 66.6% there. That's a plethora of minutes.
That's right. A plethora of minutes. And it's flying by quickly.
Yeah, and you said that's the drink word, right? Plethora?
It is. Yes.
That's actually a word I use a lot. I use it a plethora a number of times, actually.
See, now you're getting everybody messed up. Everybody's...
Well, it's the weekend,
the
baby. It's time to let your afro down.
Put that loose Jerry curl pump in there.
That's right. You know. See, you know.
You know.
You from Arkansas. You know what's up.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yes, baby.
So we left off with the furry suit, which made me laugh, but at the same time I was traumatized. I was like, "Oh, good Lord!" What's
there's a lot of, when we do this adventure, with Wrestling with Ghosts, with Big Luke, we do ghost adventures, we do ghost hunts, we try to help people with the paranormal activity in the room, we do comedy skits, we make mini movies, we are pro wrestlers. Another funny story happened last night. This is somebody asked about wrestling earlier. So we're out there with a friend of ours named, the wrestler's name's Keith Gavins. And so he's out there, and we're bad guy wrestlers because the way we talk, nobody down south wants to hear us, and they always cheer the rednecks and stuff over us. That's fine. So we go out there, and we're, hamming it up. And this woman starts to flip my buddy the Bird. And he's sitting there and he's like cocky. He's from Chicago too. And he starts like, yeah. And he wanted to say to the woman, because she had like a small, you ever seen somebody flip somebody off and there's just like a tiny little finger that comes out? It's not like a big whopping bird, but it's just kind of this boink. It's like, however,
wow.
Like their little fingers are built weird. Or something's going on. The way they hold their hand. So anyway, he looks at her and he's wanting to say, your finger looks like a 3-year-old's. But it comes out, your 3-year-old looks like a finger. And what happened after that was just was an exercise in social anthropology.
Right.
Because she starts looking at her finger and trying to figure out what that means. And then she starts, you could tell in her face, she's like, you just said, you're talking about my family, and you said and you just see this all in her brain working, like, you just called my 3-year-old a finger. What does that even mean? And then you start thinking about, is this a new thing? Do people call people fingers now? Does that, if somebody's a finger, does that mean a certain thing? If they're a toe, is that something else?
Right now?
And so, she's looking at her middle finger, and like, my finger looks like my 3-year-old. And then she becomes livid. Like, actually, we got a message saying that the next time she sees us, there's a pistol in the glove box of her truck, and she's going to come out and shoot us. And she's just absolutely, she can't handle it. It's not even part of the fun of the show. It's just, I can't believe you'd say such a horrible thing about my child, which she didn't even know she had one, of course. But like, and one of my friends, I said the story to the other day, and he was like, well, if you're honest, all 3-year-olds do look like fingers. Kind of right, I guess, it's in a way. So anyway, you never know what's going to happen. It's funny little things here and there all the time.
Oh my God.
Couldn't even write that. Couldn't even come up with that. What are we going to say that's going to make somebody mad? Couldn't even do it. It was just perfect.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, man. Just gotta have something to get mad about.
That's why wrestling's great for that. But, you know, and the other thing is, too, man, I mean, this ASY Paranormal Jive, this is great stress relievers for you people, man. I'm telling you, $2.99 a month, less than a cup of coffee. You know, Daenerys Targaryen paid $7 for that coffee cup they had to CGI out of Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah, how many millions of dollars did that take? Because she accidentally left it there. And you know it's obviously hers because she's, like, kind of looking at it.
So you watch Game of Thrones, too?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when this season started, I was like, I don't want it to end. But after these 4 episodes, I'm ready for it to stop. I just can't. I don't like the tension. I don't like where it's going. It's bothering me. I knew it. You couldn't have 6 episodes and it'd all just be sunshines and rainbows and everybody holding hands, skipping down the Appian Way or anything to the castle. But it's just gross. I don't like anything that's happened. It's stressing me out, and I'm glad there's only 8 days of it left.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna just continue to get harsher.
Yeah, it's not even. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just too stressful. It's too stressful. It's not, and it's like a lot of injustice hanging in the air. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, I don't want to spoil anything, but to anybody who hadn't listened, but yuck.
Yuck.
That's
so
right.
Trip is asking, have you ever been to? Okay, it's spelled UWHARRIE. Is it you, Harry, for the annual Bigfoot search?
No, but now cryptids kill me. And again, just stay with me for a second. You may get offended and leave, and don't do that. But like, I don't think there's Bigfoots. I don't think that, just in my own brain, because there's just part of me that's this agnostic, right? And I was an agnostic until spiritual's crazy stuff happened to me. I wasn't, you know, I believe in God now, but I went my whole life. My family never talked about God. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, are you an atheist? Are you a agnostic? It was just God. I always thought churches were kind of like weird lion's den type thing where, you know, people just go to be nice and dress. I thought it was a place for people to kind of show off new clothes or something. I had no idea what was going on in those things. And so I found God later on because there was a thing that happened. And the same thing with ghosts. I didn't believe in ghosts. I thought people were nuts. Then something happened, and I'm like, well, here we go. And again, I don't know if they're ghosts or demons or time travelers or residual energy or creatures we can't perceive or things going from one dimension to the next or whatever. I don't know. But there's a Bigfoot episode we're going to shoot. And one of the networks wanted us to do a cryptid show. Because I think they think Luke looks like a Sasquatch because he's literally 7 feet tall. And that's the other thing, ladies. I want you to hear this. If you go to the website and you start looking at pictures of me and Luke and Travis, I'm not a midget. He's not a little person. All right? I'm almost 6 feet. I'm a hair over 6 feet tall.
He's not a midget. That guy's like a giant.
Well, no, I look like one because I'm always standing next to him.
Yeah, because he's a giant, so you look like a midget, but you're really not. He's a giant. You're regular size.
Yeah. Well, even a little tall. Like there's pictures like where I'm the second tallest person in the room when I'm with Luke, but everybody goes, "Why do you?" And when we go to conventions and stuff and wrestling shows, or the girls are always like, "I thought I could put you in my pocket." And I'm like, "No, I'm a pretty big guy, man." So anyway, Luke's just a crazy giant. So I think they wanted us to do a cryptid show because he looks like Bigfoot or the Yeti or something, but. We're actually going to do a show. There's actually another pro wrestler that we know that is not a liar at all. In fact, he's kind of I don't know how to describe, droll in a way. I mean, he's just kind of a really straight, serious guy. And he tells of a place near Morristown. Did you not tell me that you were in Morristown at one point?
Yeah. Okay. So long story short, I met this psycho guy in MRP of the Marine Corps. He was getting off because he's like mental. I didn't realize it. Well, he said his name was Gage Black, and he's from Australia, but really his name was something else, and he was from Tennessee. Well, I didn't find all this information out until after I was pregnant.
Wow.
Moved to Morristown, Tennessee. got abandoned at the grandparents' house while he goes and messes around with some rodeo chick. And, so went from Morristown, Tennessee to Fayetteville, Tennessee. But, yeah, that's how I got all the way to the edge of Tennessee on the eastern side.
Well, in Morristown, if you look up, you can actually look top 10, I think, pill-infested cities or opioid outbreaks or something like that. Morristown is funny. We actually do an investigation in Morristown, but there's also a situation happening near Morristown where this guy, I don't know nothing about Bigfoot. And that's the thing about Wrestling with Ghosts too, is that we are not paranormal experts. And then I don't know if there really are anything. I don't know if people are paranormal experts. I don't know how you can be an expert on something that we just have no idea what those things are.
There's no expert in this field.
Yes, but we have no idea. The gadgets, we have friends that bring the gadgets, and we're like, what is this? Is this like the old electronic football machine? What is this? Is this an electric razor? We don't know what any of these things are. So I'm not privy to the plethora of science facts and stories about the Bigfoot. So drink up. So now I will say this. I have heard, basically from the story, that Bigfoots, what do we call it? What do we call those?
Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Okay, Sasquatch. Is Sasquatches or Sasquatchi? Damn, these things have terrible pluralizations things. Aren't they called like pole apes or something? We got to pluralize these things. Anyway, it's driving me nuts. So the Bigfoots, the big feets. Shit, I just hate that. So anyway, they are supposed to be able to control your mind or something. Have you ever heard this? Like if you're getting close to them, you'll get thoughts of like, you need to go away, or you need to turn around, or have you ever heard of? Have you ever heard of that?
Like when you're in the presence of a cougar, or mountain lion, or a bear, or something like that. You get this feeling that I should not be here right now.
Do you?
Yeah,
See, I've never been across anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, when you see one, you see that you go like, I need to get the hell out of here. But
you don't even have to see it. You could just feel it, like it's internally ingrained in you.
I think you're a predator empath. I don't know if I'd ever. I mean, maybe. Of course, I'm never outside. I'm a city guy, so I don't know. But like, I've never heard of that. But the Bigfoot's feet, Sasquatch eye thing, Yetis. I heard that you start to get confused around them, like they're trying to, like they have some sort of control. I don't know if the cougars do that. Now there are some cougars that I know. And if you've still got a couple hours on the East Coast, they'll no matter what you look like, they'll probably go home with you if you buy them a drink and compliment their shoes. But anyway, not those kind of cougars either. But the Bigfoots, the big feets.
About to say Happy Mother's Day, cougars.
Oh yeah, Happy Mother's Day, cougars. You bunch of old loose hags. Anyway, Jezebels. Anyway, so I heard this. So anyway, this guy had a situation where he thought he was driving through near Morristown, and he sees a Bigfoot thing or something that could resemble it, and he's like, "Oh gosh," or whatever he says, and he stops and he's trying to find it and whatever, and then he actually goes looking for this thing because there's like an inside scoop on the Bigfoot poop, and if it rhymes, it's true.
That's right. You can't deny it.
That's right. So he goes out there, and there's tons of like little clues about how the trees are broken down, and how there's just a lot of interesting things out in the middle of the woods that he finds that he's just like, this crazy. And then he gets to the spot where they say they think these things hibernate or congregate or something. And he said he started feeling really confused, and like there was voices in his head that weren't his, and he had to get back to the trail because he was starting to feel vulnerable out there because he's not. So that's all baffling to me. Now, we're going to go try to find that. It may be the worst episode of Wrestling with Ghosts ever because it may just be us going, ow, I stepped in a sticker bush again. But 2 hours. an hour of me getting my legs ripped apart by the flora and the fauna out there. But we're going to check it out. And this guy, I don't think he has a picture. Maybe he has a picture that I haven't seen yet. Maybe, and that's another thing, because Luke's kind of the same way with cryptids. He's like, and then I think this guy produced some sort of picture that made Big Luke interested, and I think that's why we're going to do this whole thing. But
I believe.
Well, just curious. There's just also, I don't know, it's what makes the world go around. That's the reason I like the paranormal. That's why I have a paranormal network I'm trying to get people to get into, because really it's the last bastion. It's the last frontier. I mean, we've gone to other planets. We've gone to the moon. We've gone to the depths of the ocean for the most part. We've been to every square inch of this world on land. There's not a lot of adventure left. A lot of the things there's not going to be too many inventions that we haven't conceived. There's just not a lot of mystery. And that's the cool thing about the paranormal is it's just, we don't know. It's creepy. There's been, on my personal show, Wrestling with Ghosts, we've had some of the most insane evidence and just things that you couldn't even dream of. It's like, man, a genius would write this and put this in a movie, and it just happened to us. Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun, and I think it's what, you can poo-poo the Bigfoot and all this other stuff and say, oh, these things aren't real, and you just jive turkey talking out the side of your neck. But there might be something out there. There may be some sort of weird animal that...
Oh, snap. Sounds like we gotta escape the porthole.
Yeah.
No, but I agree. Like, I don't know, there's so much stuff out there, and to me, reality is stranger than fiction, and you can't make a lot of this stuff up that we've experienced. And I've had paranormal experiences since before I can even remember. When was your first one? Did you get into it with this whole Wrestling with Ghosts, or did you have experiences as a youngling and such?
That's funny. I think the experiences I had with Wrestling with Ghosts cemented a lot of what I experienced, because I knew something was out there. Like I said, I believe in God now, and there was a big chunk of my life where I didn't even, like, he wasn't even a thing. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I know now people are very political and get angry about that type of thing, but back then it was just like, what? God, okay. So what happened to me? This story is a little involved, but I think it's a pretty good one. This is I was driving. I used to work at a drug and alcohol facility in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee, and I was a drug and alcohol counselor. I was a LADAC or whatever. I helped kids who supposedly had an Axis 1 of chemical dependency, and I worked at this place in the middle of nowhere. And as I was driving, I worked third shift because I don't like authority figures, and it's been a big problem my whole life. And I was driving to work, and Coast to Coast AM, which may be a competitor of yours, but was the granddaddy of all this paranormal radio and talk and all that stuff. And so I was sitting there thinking, I was like, with all these kids and all these terrible situations, and kids have been molested and raped and gang initiations and neglected and abused and cigarettes burned out, and I was just wonder why there's never been any paranormal activity that's ever happened and at the particular facility that we were in. So I stepped in it that night because what happened that night was nuts. I went in, and this place is like a shotgun. It's a shotgun type building. You can see every room from the hallway, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. There's a big kind of in the middle. There's like one side has a big gym, and there's the bathrooms and the day room, and kind of the main office area, and the nurse's station. But basically, one wing is all resident beds, like just the beds. And the other side are like offices and kind of like where the library is in the school, because they had a little school there too. So the kids could be in an outpatient gimmick or an inpatient gimmick without having to miss school. So anyway, the first, it was real strange. There was 24 children in this particular facility, and up to there 4 girls and 20 boys. So instead of everybody thinking about recovery, it became about who can sneak into the girls' room and get something rubbed on. So, and it was also because of the safety of the children, you couldn't lock the doors. So somebody always had to play goalie down there. Hormone goalie is what you were. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't fall asleep because somebody would get either attacked or there'd be some sort of sexual thing or gang initiation or whatever. So this particular evening that we're talking about, I go down in the hallway, and I get first dibs. And so I'm there making sure nobody gets pregnant. And I'm just sitting down the hallway, and just, it's kind of in the dark. We have a lamp. And as I do my rounds, I hear a guy's voice in one of the girls' rooms, because the girls are kind of together on the one side and the rest of them are all boys. But so I run in there and I'm like, oh my God, there's some dude in here. It sounded like a grown man. I couldn't find him. And that really kind of was like, that's really strange. I don't know what that was. And that was before cell phones. So I know nowadays people think, well, maybe that was some kid playing like a YouTube video or something. Well, the kids wouldn't have cell phones anyway, but back then they didn't have cell phones that played videos. Like our cell phones at that point played Snake. That's what we had. Yeah. So, so that happened, and I was walking around, and I was walking down the hallway, and this kid sat up in bed, and his eyes opened, but you couldn't see the irises, which was real creepy, Mm-hmm. And he looked right at me, and he said, "Buy me a PA today, JR." And he lays down, and I'm sitting there going, "Buy me a PA today, JR." And I take a
guitar.
Yeah. Well, what happened was that day, I told you I was in a band. My lead singer was named JR. That day, he bought a PA system for the band out of his own money. And I was like, what in the flippity flam? What is that? So a couple of other minute things happened. The opposite of a plethora.
Right.
So anyway, drink up. And so I go down to my office after my 2 hours down in the dark hall down there. And I open the door to my office, and it's just it's ramshacked. I don't know what happened to it. It's just terrible. And so I'm sitting there looking at my office, and I hear this little voice come up behind me. I hear this, "Hey, hey." And I turn around. I thought it was April, a girl. She's kind of a playful coworker or whatever. And there's nothing there. I yell up to Jamie, who's not a playful coworker, but she's up there doing the paperwork. I said, "Hey, where's April at?" She's like, "She's in the kitchen," which is on the opposite side of the whole facility. And I said, "Man, you won't believe this." So I walk up to Jamie. I said, "Man, you won't believe this." I open my door to my office, and I hear, like halfway down my back, a tiny person go, "Hey, hey." And the blood drained from her face. And she said, "I just heard earlier something walk up behind me and let out 2 short breaths." Now, here is the rub. And if you're an agnostic, you don't believe this stuff, this is what's crazy. The thing behind me didn't say, "Hey, hey." I just said it because it's easier to say, "Hey, hey," as a colloquial type thing than to sit there and for brevity's sake, instead of going, "It let out 2 short breaths." But mine let out 2 short breaths. So she actually validated what happened to me, not even knowing what really happened. I actually misrepresented my facts just to make the story quicker. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, oh my gosh. Well, later that night, we're out there smoking. And this is rolling hills of Tennessee. We're talking 2 a.m, and we have a big barn full of camels and emus and yaks and all. They use these animals to help with the kids to do whatever, and train them, or I don't know, get their mind off drugs and help them with an animal. These weird beasts that some weird zoo gave us. But there was over the hills, you could hear a man chanting loudly, and it just rolling over these hills. some weird language. And the animals were going crazy. The animals never did that. It sounded like a circus tent was on fire. I mean, it was rah, rah, rah. And we were like, what is happening? And so from that point forward, we started talking about hey, and things were fun and cute, and like pins would flip off the ground and lights would go on and off, and you'd hear knocks and you'd hear this type of thing. But then people started reporting seeing a short thing and a tall entity that you could barely see. And that's when it was started. The milieu of the place went south. The girls, they actually ripped a hole in the sheetrock so the guys could shoot stuff into the girls' room, if you catch my drift. And the staff started acting weird, and the kids started acting violent. These are supposed to be level 1 kids in the state custody. They're not supposed to be really behavior problems, but they became disrespectful and violent and oversexed, and the staff was getting weird with each other. And a friend of mine basically said, because I always tell them about hey and all the weird things that would happen, and there's tons of stuff, a plethora of stuff that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Drink up. And so the guy basically said, man, this sounds like something dark is happening in your place, because it's, people were getting into fist fights and staff was getting hurt. And so I remember Malachi Martin was the closest thing America ever had to a Catholic, the Pope or whatever. He was an expert on demonology and stuff, and I listened to a lot of what he said, and through Mancow Muller and some other means. And I went in one night to go, I was like, I got to go bind this stuff. This is evil. It's getting out of hand. And as I was walking towards the facility, there was like a silhouette of a person in my office, and there was like stars going around the person's head. It was crazy looking. It looked like something out of a bad 80s rock video. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but something funky is about to happen. So went in there and said my jive and did my, little chants or whatever, and prayers and stuff, and it bound it. And basically since then, nothing really ever out of the ordinary happened. And then we started doing the Wrestling with Ghosts, and that stuff started going sideways pretty quick.
Yeah, it's interesting when stuff like that happens. Have you had anything that you just really could not wrap your mind around? Like, is this really happening? Am I out of my mind? Am I sleeping? Am I dreaming? Anything like that on a certain investigation?
Let's see. I don't know if I've had anything that kind of blew my mind out of the realm of just normal thinking, but we've had so much insanity happen that nothing shocks me anymore. I mean, the thing about our show is when you go to ASYParanormal.com, and I'm telling you guys this, if you pay $2.99 a month and just watch these shows, this show that just dropped on May 10th, it's called One Fish, Boo Fish. We go to an abandoned amusement park and an abandoned hotel, and across the Maumee River in Bowling Green, Ohio, is an island called Grave Island that is supposedly covered in human bones. It basically was a body dump in the Confederate, or in the Civil War, and a bunch of Native Americans are there too, allegedly. And this episode is great if you like urban exploring, because we get to see just an amusement park and a beloved place. And anybody it's called Valmar's Park. Anybody that was in the greater Toledo area, they love this place. It had roller coasters and things, and all sorts of that kind of stuff. And we capture and I'm just going to say this, if this offends you as a listener, I'm sorry. If you have your own, these are the best 2 EVPs ever recorded. I mean, they're so good, we thought they were fake. And a lot of the stuff that happens to me that blows my mind as I edit the show too is the stuff that I capture, or the stuff that I pick up when I'm editing. Because there'll be certain investigations I'm like, man, that sucked. Nothing happened. And I'll sit there with the headphones on and listen to all the EVPs and stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? Because what's weird is when you edit your show and you're with your friends, you know how somebody breathes. You know how somebody sounds, like how they exhale when they walk. You know what somebody's knees popping sound like?
Right.
You know, somebody breathing in their nose. You're like, oh, that's Luke. And you can actually, if you've got good headphones, you can almost three-dimensionally hear in stereo stuff. And like, okay, somebody's just farted over here, and somebody's Travis has
I know who
asthma.
that was. I know what he had for lunch. The guy's nasty.
That's right. You get, and always the answer is Luke, by the way. But anyway, you get Luke. Luke, quit farting. we gotta breathe while you leave. But you know, you leave, and we still got to live down here. So anyway, so then it's like this thing, like, okay, so this episode that is on ASY Paranormal right now, with Wrestling with Ghosts. It's a season 2, episode 2. Just launched, just dropped. There is a moment where you hear this Southern guy say something really sweet and nice. And I won't bust it for you. I won't ruin it for you. But basically it's like, did somebody want a Pepsi? I mean, it sounds something like that. It sounds like Deputy Dog or... Luke's from Chicago. I'm from Baltimore. Travis is from Port Charlotte or Fort Lauderdale, Florida, somewhere. Fisher's from Toledo. Nobody even jokingly does like, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. I mean, nobody jokes like that. Like when me and Luke joke, we do the Italian, hey, we gonna do, you know, that kind of stuff. And Travis is too busy sending his pictures of his genitalia through Snapchat and Instagram. He doesn't joke at all. So,
Daddy Bosted.
Yeah, right. In fact, when we get hotels, we always put it in his name, and his name is Richard Pitcher. Right. So anyway, and then this voice happens again. And there's probably the thing that, on the editing side of it, the thing that blew me away the most, there's been times I'll be editing the show at night, and I'm not creeped out at the location, but something will happen on camera or something. I'll hear something, and I have to go stand outside on the front porch for a minute. I have to get away
oh my
from
God,
it.
I was like in that, and I didn't even realize it.
There was I was telling you earlier about La Follette being one of the most haunted places in the world. And we were doing an investigation at this place called the Meredith Antiques. And Meredith Antiques was it's like a junk shop, but they've got really cool, like, they've got just insanely awesome stuff in there too. But anyway, that's beside the point. But it's a neat place, and they have like a big stack of Ouija boards right next to a bunch of little girl dolls. Well, there was a girl that was supposedly killed in an alley right next door. And a real little girl. And during the investigation, these feet pop up out of nowhere. And we have video evidence that the tiles were clean, and then there are tiny feet. We're all wrestlers. Nobody has little tiny feet. Nobody's walking around this junk shop barefoot anyway. Except
so it's
this
like a barefoot footprint?
Yes, and we captured that on TV, and we're sitting there. It's episode 3. It's called Ouija Want the Funk. Because there's a generic Ouija board for sale in there that's not spelled Ouija. It's spelled WEE-JI, which we were just like, that is the greatest. That's like a knockoff Ouija board. Hey, I don't care how you spell it. We're just going to sell it. Ouija board. I think
that was like the last picture I shared on Twitter of your guys' group was the Ouija board one spelled differently.
Yes.
First I was like, what the crack is that? And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for sharing, by the way. Sharing is caring. So I'm sitting down, and we've got little dolls, and I'm like, hey, is there a little girl here? And blah, blah, blah. And the legend of this girl being murdered, like less than 10 feet away from me and through the wall, and next to these Ouija boards, spelled correctly and it's spelled incorrectly as well. And I'm like, hey, is there a little girl here? Blah. And, doing all that jive. And then you hear this voice that goes, killed the brat? Killed the brat?
Aww.
And I'm like, what? And then you hear it again. Killed the brat? Killed the brat? And I don't hear it with my raw ears. It's captured on the camera. And I'm sitting there, and I see my hairs moving on my arm, like somebody's touching my arm. Because I'm saying things like, I'm a dad. I've got little girls. I love little girls, and I'd love to play with you. And my little girls at home are my treasures, and as I'm sitting there watching my hair move on my arm, like somebody's touching it, and it feels that way, like a little tiny electricity. I'm sitting there going, is that you? On the recorded stuff, on the camera, you hear this coo, like a little tiny kid going coo. I don't know why you would do that, but it did it. And I didn't know that happened in real life. And so when I was doing the editing, I was like, what? And I could tell that I was sad at the, I remember, I forgot all about that because other crazy stuff happened that night. But I remember that tender moment. And I remember, like, wow. So what the crazy thing that happened about that is Luke is at his job. This guy walks up. Hey, I'm one of these spirit medium empath people, whatever, I'm one of these guys. And Luke's like, okay. And even though we're in the biz, we're still, when people walk up to us, we're like, whatever. Yeah, you never know with people. You never know if somebody's full of crap or, people telling the truth or earnest. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, you got an attachment there. You got a little, you ever notice anything at the home? And he's like, what are you talking about? He goes, there's a little girl. And she's following you and somebody else. And she says that she loves her two new daddies. And she's never known men to be this nice. She loves to play with them. And she remembers when she first met him at the old toy store. And I'm like, this guy had to watch our show. I mean, there's no way he came up with this. And Luke's like, man, this guy didn't know who I was. He didn't know. He didn't go, hey, you're big Luke. I know you. He was just like, he just said, man, because he was like, you're going to think I'm crazy and you're going to think this is nuts. But there are little things that happen, and they're always with the toys in my house and his house. There's, we got these remote control sumo wrestlers. And they'll turn on, or if we're playing games together, something will fall over, and cute, and sweet, but weird and kind of strange.
Yeah, it is, and like I said earlier, truth is stranger than fiction, and that's what makes life so interesting. And I don't know. Like I said before, I have the group Four Corners Paranormal Investigations. I've had experiences all my life, and I find comfort in the fact that there is stuff on the other side. A lot of people think there really isn't anything there, but I find it's coming out more and more in today's life. Like, everybody used to keep it hush-hush, and then today we have all kinds of different paranormal shows, and then you're doing your channel, which I'm so glad you're doing. And I want to register to it. Can you get it online, or do you have to do the Fire Stick or the Hulu or whatnot to get it? How does that exactly work?
Oh, it's even better. You can get it online. You just go, you type in ASYParanormal.com. You sign up. It takes 30 seconds. It's $2.99 a month. You can pay $33 for the whole year, but every day now that it's launching, and I'm on the podcast, and there's newspapers talking about it. There's other people going, hey man, I'd like to contribute. I'd like to make something for the show, and we're helping people learn how to make shows, and because it's fun, and it's fun to have, these investigations are great, and Luke and I are going to put something on the network as a video to help people. How do you make your own television show? And because we had to learn, because we made bad TV. In fact, the first couple episodes of Wrestling with Ghosts are not cinematic masterpieces. They're not terrible, but what we got now and the equipment we got now, it is like, wow, if the story wasn't there, we just ripped this right off, because it doesn't reflect how we are as filmmakers now. But they're still good to watch, and they're still, it's just us being nitpicky. Most people won't even notice the little mistakes that we make, but we want to help people not make mistakes. So all you got to do is go to ASY Paranormal. That's ASY Paranormal, and there's a sign up button, and $2.99 a month. You're going to get 18 original shows to start, plus tons of B movies and short films, and if you're an independent filmmaker, you can help contribute, because we want to save the genre. Because from my experiences, cable television is dying a slow, painful, knife in the gut death. And the only way what we like about the paranormal genre of television and reality TV as a joke, as it is anyway, is that independent people make it. And this is what we want this to be, the hub for paranormal groups and paranormal, because there's all sorts of stuff on there. Like I said, there's interactive maps of that will be uploaded soon. There's places that are haunted you can go check out. Oh, this is where you go to check out this place. Paranormal teams, if you've got something going on in your house and you need help, we got teams from all over the world. And it's just it's a hub, but mainly it's a television station. UFO stuff. We got the UFO Show with Amy Dumas, who's WWE's Lita, Wrestling with Ghosts, One Step Beyond, which is the precursor to the Twilight Zone, Alone in the Dark, Hellscream Incorporated, Dead Zombies, It Happened to Me, Big and Funky Present, Geeks Paranormal, Hacks Horror Show, Frenzy. It just keeps going. Paranormal Mysteries, Hellscream Incorporated, Sparkle City. It's unbelievable. It's everybody's got together. We were rooting for each other. We want this thing to take off. It's if you love paranormal television, this is the last stand. This is where we need the people to show up. We need the people to throw the $3. It's less than a cup of coffee. You get in, Starbucks at least. You get in there. This is the knife fight to save the genre. It's going to happen at ASY Paranormal.com. Yeah, and so awesome. So it will be on Roku, it will be on Fire Stick, but you can, if you've got the internet on your phone, you can get it. You can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your tablet, you can watch it on the PCs, Macs, your home computer. You can go up to the space station and watch it up there, man. The ISS. If you get a ride, you can. If they've got the internet, they can watch it anywhere in the world.
And it sounds like a constant feed of different stuff, and for $2.99 per month, like how can you miss out? Like, I was raised on scary paranormal stuff. You know, it's the norm for our family. And I actually find myself going to sleep to Twilight Zone or Alfred Hitchcock or whatever else. You know, just listening to it in the background and having crazy awesome dreams. But that's a good deal, $2.99 a month. And you can get it on your phone or
anywhere. You can take it on the subway. You can take it on the bus. The other thing, you know, you're talking about going to sleep. There's a show I want to make, and I don't. There's a show that I want to make, and I've always wanted to make it. I'm fascinated with radio. It excites me that you have terrestrial radio stations that you broadcast to. Podcasts are great. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, but actually, radio waves shooting out into the space and somebody else's antenna picking it up. I think there's something romantic about it. I can't. It's like you're the dial and this person is jiving at the same time. There's something special about radio, and I've always been fascinated with radio waves and broadcasts. And there's a show or a documentary. I got to decide what I want to do. But you're talking about going to sleep and stuff. I was going to make an ASMR type show where it was going to be radio broadcasts from around the world, and some of them are like secret, like number stations or particular bands of radio broadcasts that we're not supposed to hear. Mm-hmm. It's not for the general public, and I was wanting to capture those. And I put that off for the launch, and I'll probably revisit that. But that's something I think, you know, number stations, broadcasts. I mean, that's one of the creepiest things ever. Nobody knew what they were. Nobody knew, you know, these stations that broadcast these numbers that repeat with weird music and weird languages, and nobody would claim, no government would say who had them or whatever. And it's just real mysterious. I don't know, stuff like that fascinates me, and it's something I was kind of wanting to throw in there too. But you can go to sleep to that stuff because that's kind of like zone out type programming. But anyway, that could be the worst television show ever made. You could watch the worst television show ever made on my network, ASY Paranormal. But right now it's not available. We have good shows. But
well, you do like, you're now listening to I Can't Sleep, and it's just like fuzz. Like we used to call them the flea races on the TV. Yep. We're not watching the flea races and different things flickering in and out, and I can't sleep. So you're listening to a soundtrack watching this fuzz instead of hearing white noise and watching something. You know, it's kind of the reverse. That's interesting.
And there's something about, I like sometimes watching static. Of course, I'm insane. That's why I probably do that.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Luke and our old camera guy, Jeremy Cantelli, came up with an idea called Near Perfect Soundscapes. And we always wanted to do, like, we would record these, you know, people go to sleep listening to soundscapes. And we were wanting to do the same thing, 45-minute song, you know, like in nature, and you hear the bubbling brook. But, you know, about minute 40, minute 38, you hear a couple of wise guys pull up in a car, and they go to the trunk, and there's some guy in there begging for his life, and you hear that what happens, that he doesn't get to keep his life, and then the guy's cussing as they bury a body and drive away. And I just think that would be funny, not to advertise that as that's going to happen. I just would love to see what would happen on somebody's face, is if they're sitting there, oh, okay, near perfect soundscape, sounds good. And they're trying to relax, and you hear like Joe Pesci going, hey, what are you going to do? Get this mother F out of here. I just think that would be...
Am I a clown to you? I'm a clown.
Get him out of the truck. And people be like, what's happening? Where was this microphone located? Am I now a privy to a crime? I don't know.
Is this the Joni mic?
That's pretty funny.
But it's so cool, like, getting into this, and so many different directions you can take it. Like, you know, the heights are endless, limitless. You could do so much with this, and I'm excited for you guys. And $2.99 to start off with, like, that's amazing. That's a good deal. That's a steal.
Dump cable. Cable's $200. Get Netflix, get Hulu, get Amazon Prime, get HBO, go Disney, and ASY Paranormal. All your needs will be met. And that will be, probably all that together will be $60 or something like that, as opposed to the $200 or $150 that you pay for all these channels with just craziness. These are, when you support something like ASY Paranormal, you're supporting people's dreams, independent filmmakers. You're giving people the opportunity to be TV stars, and you can be one yourself. You can be one yourself. All you have to do, contact us. My name is Vinnie Vineyard. I'm on Facebook. You can go to funkmasterv.com. You can contact us in a myriad of ways, a plethora of ways. Drink up. And, you know, you can contact, hey, man, I'd like to make a show like this. What do you think about this? And we've had several. And just sit there and go, man, that sounds like a great idea. Or you have a YouTube channel. I got a YouTube channel. I've got all these films, and I've got, like, you know, I got 100 people that watch this, but I'd like more. Well, you can keep your own stuff on YouTube. You can let us broadcast it on ASY Paranormal too. Because the thing about YouTube is great. Everybody can have access to it. Oh my God. But how do you get people to your channel, to your video? It's very difficult. Because there's 10 million people screaming for your attention. Mm-hmm. This is like, if you go to ASY Paranormal, the people that are aware of it want your programming, and it's just new marketing for you. And we had a number of people sign up yesterday, and today we had even more people sign up. Yesterday was launch day, so hopefully every day the number will grow, and these things will become more and more relative and you know, important to people's lives. Like, oh, okay, this is not just something out in outer space. This is something that's actually got a life of its own. I think it could do that.
And just so you guys know, if you have your own paranormal team, you don't have to be a video pro or whatever. Like, just be real and true to yourself, and, you know, have a few people on your team film different directions, or you can even have X cameras out there, which are static cameras that stay in one place, that film like the bigger portion of it. You could really put something together, put your team out there, and you never know what could happen. And like you're saying, it's kind of like a hit or miss thing. With going professional, you could get people saying they're interested, but they never really come through. But I think, like you were saying, the more you don't really care, the more things actually kind of happen for you, because you don't feel or appear so needy.
What do you mean, trying to get paranormal evidence, or?
Getting your show out there on different genres, like you're saying, different stations, like History Channel, Discovery Channel, other people saying things about your team, but then not really taking you on. But then once you start just letting it go and doing your own thing, that's when the true light comes out and you actually will get picked up, because I mean, people like to see things that are different.
Well, there is some truth to that, but this is like ASY Paranormal, or if you take that out, anything else that would be like this is what the future is going to be, because the cable television stuff's dying. I mean, Ghost Brothers got $800 an episode. I mean, what are you going to do with that? This is the future of television in different ways. Other streaming networks are the same way, and that's funny you say that. So we've kind of just said, screw the networks, we're going to do this. Well, last night we got contacted by a network, and it's just like, yeah, what the heck? To me, this is the dream. And this is the other thing, totally independent. You can cuss, you cannot cuss, you can add comedy, you can add, like this guy wanted, like he said, porn stars or something doing. You can do whatever you want. Porn stars, not it's not. Rick
My friend used to
going,
say Pawn Stars, and I was like, porn stars? What show is that? He's like, no, porn stars. And I'm like, yeah, you're saying porn stars. No, Pawn Stars is what he was saying. I was like, oh, okay.
Hey, it's Jimi Hendrix guitar. It's worth $3 million. I'll give you $2,500 and a slap in the mouth. Porn stars.
Porn stars.
So the thing about being independent, you do an episode, not a lot happens. It can be 15 minutes. You don't have to fill up 45 minutes. Then you have something awesome going on. Then it can be an hour. You don't have to chew it. You don't have to saw it down. There's a lot of different freedoms with being independent. Like you're not having to worry about, hey, this season we want to put out 3 episodes. Next season we'll put out 6. The season after that we don't know. So I mean, there's total freedom in all that stuff. So, and that's just terrific to me.
Well, yeah, it's cool when things can go the way they should, instead of being, like you said, this is supposed to be reality TV, but it's all scripted and really screwed down. Like, it's not natural, it's not real. How can you portray it as reality TV when it's really not real? Like, let's actually have a reality television show. Of course, every second isn't going to be the best, so that's why they cut it up and do different things with it, but
sure.
I think you guys could go a long ways. I love your energy. Like I said, I've been watching you guys for over a year now, and I'd like to see your show on YouTube or on the television, or wherever, maybe Destination America, different places like that.
They said a hard no, so we said a hard yes to doing our own stuff on ASY Paranormal, and that's what we want everybody to kind of go there, check it out. You can watch Wrestling with Ghosts, which is 3 smart aleck pro wrestlers and comedians and musicians and jerks as we do this, and we have an incredible, just an amazing freaking time with it. And then there's a million other shows, UFO Show with Amy Dumas, and good grief, just more paranormal shows, kids playing video games, zombie video games, and counterculture stuff, and haunted house, the inside of a haunted house, and just tons of cool stuff. And anything you come up with an idea, come make your own show, make your own style of show. This is an open forum for everybody. And there's ghost stories on there, haunted locations, resources for paranormal investigators and independent movie makers. It's going to be the real deal. Evander Holyfield is what it's going to be. It's ASY Paranormal, ASY. And slap your mom in the mouth for on Mother's Day from us, Wrestling with Ghosts. We're the bad guy wrestlers. That's the thing about us, too. A lot of people don't like me and Luke because we are, we come off as jerky sometimes, but we have, I can at least tell from him, he's got a heart of gold. You know what? He took my mother out one time, and he actually called her the next day. I thought that was awesome. So he's not a total jerk. For reals.
Yeah, I can't believe what a gentleman that guy was. But I gotta thank you so much, Vinny, for being my guest tonight. It was so wonderful having you on this evening. And I have to say again, I'm so glad that you reached out to me, because I did kind of give you that leeway, but you came back when it was meant to happen.
Well, there you go. And I guess we'll talk about this off the air, but there was something about a check.
Yeah, we'll work out all the details here on the flip side.
All right, baby. Thank you for having me. Remember, believe in the funk. Don't fear the name, the fame, or the power of pure funk. ASY Paranormal, ASY Paranormal.com. $2.99 a month. TV like it was meant to be, and if it rhymes, it's true, baby.
That's right. And thank you to everyone in Spaced Out Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Deep Talk Radio, and wherever else in the universe you're listening tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and it was my pleasure, not only figuratively, but literally. I can't wait to do it again tomorrow night for Psychic Sunday on spacedoutradio.com. Until next time, nighty-night, love and light to all my space cases out there. You guys have a wonderful Sunday. I'll see you all back here tomorrow night. And don't forget, we're all in this together. Together, we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we own the night. If you guys would like to come out to the after party with us.
After party.
The number is 970-335-9596. 970-335-9596. I hope to hang out with you guys and see you there. Thank you so much again for joining us. Happy Mother's Day to all my beautiful mothers out there. Take care of my dudes.